Yeah, this time it looks like it jumped past. The red line went a lot quicker. Yeah.
I'll be back. Yeah, I'll be back in 1 minute.
Going live now. All right, so we're streaming now.
Excellent.
Live from New York. Oh.
Hopefully from not there.
We're live.
All right.
Brilliant.
You want to step up on stage, sir?
Yeah, so we'll get things kicked off here. Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for being here. Thanks for jumping on for day 2. Run for the Unicorns 2020 virtual event. Yesterday was a lot of fun. We had a really good time, a lot of great panels. Looking forward to today. I'm going to ask Kevin Williams to walk up on stage. Kevin Williams, founder at KWP Limited. Kevin, thank you very much for taking the time to be here, and been looking forward to the keynote speech today.
Well, thank you very much. Really appreciated to be here. It's important to me, especially as this is the second time that I've supported the Run for the Unicorns, and I'm happy that I didn't make such a mess of it that they invited me back. The presentation today is an important for me also because it's touching on a subject that I spend a lot of my time dealing with, and due to the current conditions that we are under, has proven to be quite unique, so we say, and trying to get out-of-home entertainment back to the position that it was only 5 or 6 months ago is proving not as difficult as some may think, but still an activity that's quite hard. But anyway, this first session really will go into the out-of-home entertainment market, the immersive platforms. It will look at the technologies that are being applied in that sector. It will also look at the ways that we're trying to develop the next generation and some of the issues and problems that we're dealing with. And I'm hoping that after the presentation that you'll be able to come up to me virtually and ask me any questions that this presentation raises. So a little bit about myself. I run KWP. It's a one-man band, but we have a number of retained consultants that also support us. I come from a background in the amusement, theme park, and attractions industry. Also spent a little time in consumer gaming. I'm an old Walt Disney Imagineer for my sins, but I also write and present a lot on this subject. If you're not already receiving the Stinger report, please hit me up after the presentation and I'll put you on the subscription list. That is a newsletter that covers much of what I'm going to talk about today. And also, I'm the founder of the DNA Association, which is just a gathering of fellow drinkers that shoot the breeze about this technology. We work with quite a few companies in this market. It's easy to say, I try and break it down as we work with the developers of the new technology and content, the operators that have to get it to work, and the investors that have to put the money into it. And that really covers the areas. And I also get to write for a number of trade publications as well as running the Stinger report. And we're very lucky that there's still quite a lot of interest in out-of-home entertainment as a medium. And so we're getting a lot of coverage, especially now as we look towards the future from the history. And the history of immersive entertainment is quite considerable. You know, when people talk about VR, they forget that what is old is new. And, you know, a lot of the technology can trace its roots quite some time back. We've gone from what the butler saw machines of the 1800s to the Sensorama of 1962, the explosion in 3D, both on the film and amusement sector in the late 80s. and then the move and migration towards more and more immersive play experiences. And what we really mean by immersive play is dropping an individual in an environment totally unique, totally compelling to what they are used to and what the norm is. We are literally an escape from reality platform. And virtual reality is just one of the many means of technology that we use to deploy that. Now, we in out-of-home, coin-operated amusement, theme parks, leisure, have employed this kind of technology since really the late 90s. Mid-90s, late 90s, we went through our phase of virtual reality. It was a very painful phase. And at the end of it, it crashed, it burned, it failed to achieve the aspirations, and so we moved on. And really, we have looked at multiple phases of development of this technology as it applies to our needs. Now, when we say immersive technology and out of home, that is totally different to the deployment in the consumer sector. And we will touch upon how the divergences start. But just so you can get an idea from this presentation, I have split the current and future applications into 5 phases of development. We have dealt with the immersive attractions, we have dealt with the VR attractions, we've dealt with the arena scale and the mixed reality, and we're now at cross reality, what many people call XR, what some people call, I've heard cross, I've also had extra reality used as a phrase, but for whatever acronym you want to use, XR is our future, and it is a lot more than just putting a head-mounted display on. But let me go over those various phases of development so you can understand how far our technology has come. We have taken the latest incarnation of virtual reality, the 2012 Kickstarter and the 2016 launch of the Vive and the Oculus CV1 as our kind of benchmark to try and offer immersive entertainment out of the home. We have always been interested in VR after the fall back in the 90s, but it has been trying to come up with a cost-effective and suitable platform that we can deploy in the unique needs of our market that has forced most of us in this sector to take what has been developed in the consumer and reappropriate that for suitability in out-of-home entertainment. And there are a number of examples of the early VR systems being used in rudimentary VR attractions, amusement systems, and standalone installations. But now, where we stand in 2020, we are seeing the divergence of the consumer technology into directions that are now more applicable for deployment in the enterprise sector. And by saying the enterprise sector, we also mean the commercial entertainment side. And so as this slide in front of you kind of illustrates, we have seen the Google Cardboard and Gear VR systems improve in their performance, their tracking capabilities, and their cost effectiveness to create the standalone revolution that we see now. And the standalone VR headsets are really fundamentally a mobile phone with the phone element removed and the processor power slotted into a headset and able to give 6-DoF tracking. So rather than just being a viewer on the virtual environments, the individuals now are totally able to interact and navigate a virtual environment. And we have HTC with their Focus Pro. We have obviously the Oculus Quest. We have just had the launch of the Lynx system, and we're about to see new systems from Samsung and Panasonic that all fill the needs of this kind of approach. Brilliant. But also in the segmentization of the market, we have been able to see a third strain emanate from that, where the technology that allowed 6-DoF tracking to be constrained and condensed into a system that can actually be mounted on a see-through head-mounted capability rather than the cameras and the laser stations that we have been previously using. We have now had the explosion in the inside-out VR platforms. These are still PC-driven, so these are still systems that are tethered by cable to a very powerful PC, but they offer a cost-effective and lightweight solution that removes a lot of the technology that hinders the market. And then finally, we have the high end. Now, over the last few years since the explosion in virtual reality interest in the consumer, we have seen a separation, a gulf appear between the two sides of the market or the community. We have had the standalone market who want to have cheap, simple, easy to set up virtual reality, prepared to pay for the lowering in performance graphically of the experience. And then we have had the high-end area, the prosumers, as we like to call them, the individuals that are prepared to pay a top dollar and have quite a complicated setup, but have the best possible immersive entertainment systems that money can buy. And that has seen the continuation of the HTC Vive Pro. That has seen the appearance of the Valve Index. And that has also seen the appearance of enterprise products that are way too expensive for the consumer pocket, but offer the highest fidelity of immersion possible for training, for design, and also for our industry, the out-of-home entertainment sector. Because there's one thing about our industry, if you can do it at home, the audience will do it at home. And we are in an industry where we're trying to achieve out-of-home, pulling people away from the comforts of their settees and their widescreen TVs, and even maybe in some cases their home PlayStation VR or even Oculus VR. We need to get them out of those homes and come and try our unique immersive entertainment experiences. So in the initial phases of the market, we have started seeing VR used as more of a viewing device, a immersive lens upon unique environments. Early on, we saw a number of motion picture companies looking at virtual reality as the ultimate promotional tool. Here you see a promotion for The Mummy, where individuals sat in specially computer-controlled chairs by Python and allowed them to watch special 3D immersive sequences captured from the making of the film and that placed them directly in the action. We saw that done with the Mission Impossible series. We even saw that done with Interstellar and many of the other sci-fi films where virtual reality was used as a marketing tool. We have also seen that first phase of VR, the three-door viewing experience, married to flat rides. So you have a roller coaster. At the end of its life, you usually pull it down and then you reconstruct another roller coaster costing multi-millions. Here, the ability from companies like VR Coaster was to add an immersive display technology that mirrored the visuals to the motion that the individuals were experiencing while riding the flat ride, while riding the roller coaster. And that allowed 3-scale. That allowed the operator of the attraction to have a means to offer a new and unique, compelling experience to an existing ride. It allowed it to be utilized for marketing and sales promotion. So you saw companies such as Budweiser and motion picture launches creating specialist content that married to the roller coaster. And also you had the ability of a 2-bite system. Either the rider went with the virtual reality system, which cost a slightly higher gradient, or they went normal. They went naked. They went traditionally. And this kind of approach started neurons firing in the industry towards what this type of technology, what immersive digital technology, especially if it was interactive, could bring to existing established hardware. And if you don't have the multi-millions, if you don't have the space needed to install a roller coaster in your facility, then there was the alternate option of totally removing the steel and adding a robot. Robot arms, autonomous robotic chair systems, as well as automated systems, have been a part of the amusement industry for some time. The most famous application has been with the Harry Potter experience at Universal, where all of the motion is supplied by a unique motion arm attached to the track of the ride. And so developers started to look that if you can't afford to have a roller coaster, maybe you can have the robotic arm simulate the physicality, the motion envelope that would be achieved by that roller coaster, and then have the virtual reality visuals supply the rest. And we have seen this kind of deployment as a brand new look at immersive attractions, immersive dark ride, immersive roller coasters, immersive high adrenaline attractions simulated through virtual representation. And if you've got robots simulating roller coasters, then you can have bumper cars simulating spaceships. And one of the new developments from companies such as Spree and IE Parks is the taking of the traditional bumper car, adding interactivity through computer data systems, adding immersion through virtual reality and tracking the users in the environment, and then being able to create any kind of environment for them to be immersed in. It is a totally compelling use of a simple entertainment medium, but it takes it to a brand new level. The level of digital immersion that brings to existing as well as new attractions is such that this is the future for the out-of-home entertainment market. And we're very lucky to see the first of these systems opening. I was just speaking to the team at Spree Interactive only a matter of days ago, and their next facility in Europe is opening to allow players and guests to jump once more back into an immersive experience that uses the ride vehicle as the means to supply the physicality, but the virtual system to supply the immersiveness, the interactiveness. So rather than just playing in a dingy warehouse, you are actually driving on a planet in a far-off galaxy. The hope by the theme park industry to take virtual reality and scale it down to make it suitable for deployment in their systems has also been mirrored by the amusement industry. So the amusement industry has gone through their previous baptism of fire when they used virtual reality back in the 90s, and it proved a mixed bag. It was very popular, but the technology was cumbersome, complicated, rudimentary, and problematic. And it is now, with the development of this latest phase of consumer VR being able to be applied to out-of-home entertainment, that they are getting closer to their dream of having simple and easy to operate virtual reality entertainment systems that can supersede their traditional VR driving, shooting, and flying experiences. And so here you see three of the latest of the virtual reality arcade machines. The first one is Virtual Rabbids, our blue system, and that is the industry leader with over 5,000 units populating the out-of-home entertainment market. Next door to that, we have our friends at Triotech, who have developed their interpretation of the ride and taking it one step further. Rather than just sitting there and experiencing the system, you are actually able to use, through hand tracking, interactivity, be able to collect prizes as you move through the environment, so achieving a score. And the latest incumbent onto the sector is our friends from Raw Thrills with their King Kong experience. And they have taken the lessons learned from the first two and scaled them down into a much cheaper, much more cost-effective, but also licensed platform. So it is acting like a cinema. And so they have entered into a relationship with the Peter Black operation to license King Kong. And that now will be deployed into the market in September as the latest entry in the virtual reality systems. We also have another aspect of the market, which is the standalone, the kiosk approach to business, where similar to an arcade machine, you can walk up, play, the experience that you select, and then go away, and the machine is ready for the next entrant. And of course, in the back of everybody's mind, there is the issue of, do you really want to be the person that plays after the first person? And that is being taken into consideration with this generation of systems, where the retractable headset is locked into a special UV light system that sanitizes the system before deploying it for the next user. We're also seeing the deployment of special hygiene standards throughout the whole of the out-of-home theme park and amusement industry to ensure that the guest is safe and secure, as well as the staff, in using this kind of technology. The same levels of scrutiny that the industries in the bowling, with bowling shoes, those in the go-kart industry with helmets, and obviously those in the 3D cinema market with 3D glasses are having to activate, not just because of the pandemic, but also because of the needs to ensure that our guests get the best experience. And surprise, surprise, if you're going to use VR on a roller coaster, if you're going to use it on a dark ride, if you're going to use it on a bumper car, if you're going to use it in the amusement, why not use it in a swimming pool? Not so stupid. The idea has been developed in Germany as well as in certain parts of Asia for waterproof head-mounted displays that can be worn in swimming pool environments or on log flume as well as flume rides. And the particular VR slide rider in Germany has seen over 300,000 riders over the last few years of its installation. The system can also be deployed in swimming pools as a free roaming experience. The iDive system that you're looking at there, water at the user as they're experiencing the system. And so mirrored with the virtual reality visuals gives them a perception that they are surfing the bottom of the ocean or sailing through space. And that means that any hotel, resort, or special holiday destination that has a swimming pool can instigate a VR attraction in their experience, so monetizing a system that in many cases is neglected in the facility. But we've talked about the early stage phases of VR deployment. We now need to look at the next generation, the technology that was coming in 2019 and hoping to move forward, and it has had to pause and relaunch itself following lockdown. And free roaming has been one of the biggest investment interests in VR for the last few years, following on from the previous phase. What we mean by free roaming and arena scale is twofold. The first is the ability to stand up, to put on virtual reality technology, and through a minimal tether, be able to move freely within the virtual environment and compete with other players. And one of the companies that is behind the hygiene standard, and one of the most successful of the companies to deploy VR into the mainstream out-of-home entertainment market, is Hologate. The Hologate Arena has proven to be one of the most popular of the plug-and-play entertainment solutions. And the company is now working forward to come up with new inventions and new derivations of their core platform. And so we now see the Hologate Blitz, which now marries simulator, high-energy simulator race systems to their experience. They have also licensed content from popular media. So they have game experiences for younger players based on Angry Birds. And it is that kind of ability to have a constant library of content linked into a constant changing paraplay of experiences that keeps VR fresh and keeps it generating revenue. Other companies, seeing the success achieved by Hologate, have jumped on the bandwagon. And so we're seeing other applications that utilize the same kind of approach. We've also seen the creation of immersive theaters. These are what I would like to say FX theaters. They take all of the lessons learned from physical effects that have been applied for decades in the theme park and theater business and condenses them to offer the ultimate immersive experience. So here you see the holodeck by our friends at Major Mega. And what you're looking at is a system that has 4 players, again, using tethered head-mounted displays, but standing in place using unique interactive vibrating shooting devices. They're sitting on a special motion floor that moves in correspondence to the virtual vehicles in their experience, developed by D-Box. But at the same time, they're being blasted by wind, heat, and special sound effects to achieve a level of immersion that is totally compelling from anything that could be achieved by a home or consumer-based VR system. This is taking VR, condensing it to its fundamentals, and then rubbing the special sauce of theme park entertainment into it, but also placing it in a box that can be easily deployed at any kind of location. And this system just opened its doors again at Hershey Park, and they're seeing some really good lines turning up as people come back to the parks after lockdown and are eager to try out the latest immersive entertainment. An industry that has been growing exponentially during the build-up to the pandemic has been the escape room market. Many of you will be familiar with escape rooms that have popped up all over the countries, all over the world. The popularity of groups of individuals going into special rooms and solving puzzles has proven a very compelling entertainment. And virtual reality was quick to jump on board that. The ability of having a virtual reality escape game meant that the skies were the limit compared to where you place the individual, where the level of complexity and difficulty of the puzzles that you virtually created, and also the ability of having a gamekeeper help the players much more physically through live communication while they were experiencing. The problems with, obviously, post-pandemic is that the escape room business, the physical escape room industry, has found it difficult to reopen their doors under COVID attendance numbers. But through their virtual reality systems, with the removal of the need to constantly have to clean their physical environments, but following the hygiene standards for virtual reality, they can deploy this as a safe alternative to their physical rooms while they wait for the ability to get back to normal. And we have even seen this approach deployed into the consumer sector. We have escape room operators that are now supplying content to players at home who network with each other, and the facility supplies a real human, a live game master, to oversee their games. We have literally seen escape rooms migrate into the home. And through Zoom and other platforms, this is a new area, a new normal for the industry to generate new revenue. Virtual reality escape gaming is going to be one of the many markets that will see greater investment as people change the way that people perceive how they play. But when we talk about arena scale and free roaming, we really mean total unencumbered entertainment. And that has brought us to the deployment of backpack-based VR systems. These are systems that have virtual reality powered by the powerful backpack that the players are wearing, that are networked together through special communication systems that have all of their motions within the environment tracked through the latest optical and laser tracking systems, and that are monitored by game masters that encourage the activity. The biggest part of arena scale gaming is the immersion level that it achieves, but also the most important part of the entertainment experience for out of home, social. We are social animals, and the level of entertainment and engagement that is achieved in theme parks and amusement facilities and location-based is not singular. It is aimed at team and audience-based experiences. Very few people go to these facilities on their own. Many people go in groups and teams. And it is the important part of our industry and our technology that we can offer entertainment to groups. And one of the first to achieve that was zero latency, creating compelling laser blasters of zombies and aliens and robots that people could play in teams, achieve scores, and repeat competition. And this has been a very strong driver for the future of arena scale entertainment. We've also seen another approach, taking a little bit from column A and a little bit from column B. Companies like The Void have gone for location-based VR experiences. So they use all the trickery and physical FX experiences that I discussed earlier with Major Mega's system, but they enclose it within a special retail unit package, a one-hit experience where people pay, put on the systems, experience a unique world, and then move on with their day. And in particular, The Void put their money into developing these immersive experiences based on expensive Hollywood IP. So we have seen Ghostbusters, Star Wars, Jumanji, all turned into virtual reality experiences, allowing people to jump into this cinematic world and experience high levels of entertainment that are totally unachievable by any form of platform available at the moment. And from 2018 to quite recently, we have seen investment from major corporations such as Disney, as well as major investment houses placed into developing this kind of approach in the market. We have seen Dreamscape that has major cinema, as AMC, IMAX investors, as well as major film studio involvement in the creation of their unique experiences. We have also seen Sandbox taking on major investments towards opening their facilities, creating unique experiences, and even going to the expense of licensing Star Trek Discovery to create unique experiences based on that IP. But there's always a but when you listen to a consultant speak. The big but is you cannot build entertainment purely on one experience. And we have seen with the lockdown of business, we have seen with the suspension of operational revenue, that companies that had indebted themselves heavily into expensive IP, the companies that have indebted themselves into having to operate, manage, develop, and install their own facility attractions have found it incredibly difficult to operate. The perfect storm, the black swan experience that has hit the whole of the entertainment, restaurant, hospitality sector has hit hardest new technology. It does not mean that the technology is dead, but it means that the companies that are re-emerging out of this problematic situation, this crisis of global proportion, have had to work twice as hard. And sadly, we have seen some companies fall by the wayside, and we have seen some companies weather the storm. And sadly, our friends at Sandbox VR are one of those companies that has taken quite a pounding during the rough seas. They have gone into Chapter 11 with their US division, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, and the company will be bouncing back with new investment, which will be announced shortly. The expense of having a large immersive entertainment facility is obviously out of the pocket of quite a few facility operators, though they still want to have the ability of offering free roaming entertainment. And with the appearance of the standalone head-mounted displays that I talked about earlier, they have been conceived as possible solutions to offer a, shall we say, low-scale free roam entertainment experience. And companies such as HeroZone have taken the first of the Oculus Quest systems and tried to create that kind of experience. The jury is still out on if this is an approach that is needed by the market, if we should go low scale or continue to focus on high scale, but it is still an ability for some venues to get access to virtual reality technology that they would not normally have deep enough pockets to be able to obtain to. We have moved now from the developments of virtual reality, and we're looking more at the immersive level of the whole of the digital entertainment sector. So beyond immersive free roaming, we then move to esports. Again, immersing audiences in entertainment of a digital nature, esports has been with us as a concept from the early 90s. But it has taken social media, the internet, and the latest social media platforms to accelerate this to biblical proportions. And so we are now seeing Asian esports being a fundamental money generator. And that has percolated into the Western market. And we see a number of corporations now in Las Vegas and internationally opening up esports arenas. When we talk about esports, we're not just talking about competitive play, but we're talking about the three foundations of this. A, the playing athletes, the competition between teams and individuals of a high skills factor on certain games, the streaming of that competition to audiences, and the last pillar of importance, audience participation, the ability to draw the audience into the experience. And it has been a surprise that due to the pandemic, esports has exploded onto the international mainstream. The inability of holding major sporting events has seen a hunger from television audiences and streaming audiences for live competition. And esports has been able to step up to the table, has been able to parachute itself into F1, into basketball, into even American football, offering esports competition as a solution. And now we move to the next phase, which is gambling and gaming, the ability for sports wagering to now move on to esports wagering. And a number of systems have been launched to captivate that. We have seen virtual reality held up as a strong platform towards the future of competitive esports entertainment. And companies like Virtuix have developed their Omni Arena not only as a standalone virtual reality attraction, but also as an esports arena, networking the systems together so people can compete for financial prizes on this platform. Esports in VR and out-of-home entertainment are very strong bedfellows and will be driving much of the future going forward in the next few years. Esports in Asia, VR esports in Asia has been incredibly popular, not just with the player versus player competitions, but also with the sports racing and even competitive drone racing. And here you see our friends at Brogent and their motion platform being employed to offer ultimate stimulation to the virtual athletes as they take place in a very high-octane racing experience. Esports in the Asian market's popularity is infectious and is coming over to the West at high speed. Mixed reality is an important part of where we see our future going, where head-mounted displays supply a virtual reality experience, a completely all-encompassing synthetic environment. Augmented reality, as well as projected reality, offers us an ability to have the real world around us and superimpose the game experience, the game narrative into that real world. And have been very successful in the esports arena with their player versus player Hado augmented reality system. So what you're seeing there are players wearing either the latest augmented reality or HoloLens 2 headsets, able to see the people they're competing with, able to see the environment, the arena that they're competing within, but their fireballs, their shields, and their scores are represented through the augmented reality headwear. And the nice thing about this is that when televising, the TV studios can superimpose what the players are seeing into the visual narrative, so the audience watching at home gets to see all of the immersive entertainment. This has been applied to the karting market, and we have seen Hado and other companies develop augmented reality go-karts and bumper cars. You've seen our friends at Spree Interactive creating fully immersive virtual reality bumper cars, but the ability to still have the individuals racing around the environment, seeing the environment in which they are in, and seeing their competitors while superimposing bombs, coins, hazards, and showing their scoring means that real-life Mario Kart has come to life through the uses of augmented reality. Augmented reality is also being deployed in the haunted house, scare attraction, as well as the escape room, where physicality through certain animatronics can be married to digital. So not all of the zombies jumping out of you as you walk around the haunted house will be people dressed up in suits, but will be achieved through wind blast and augmented reality representation. It is this level of digital with physical that is offering a new opportunity to the market and offering a compelling, unique experience to an audience that is used to interactive and video gaming. I mentioned drones previously. Drone racing has been one of those esports entertainments that has exploded across the world. The piloting of esports is done through special head-mounted displays. The drones populated with special camera systems to relay the images back. And of course, that can be streamed live to the audience. It was obvious that the interactive entertainment industry was going to want to have a share in this. And we're now seeing the appearance of the first augmented reality drone racing and drone competition systems, combat systems. Players using their special headsets to see the action through the perspective of their drone as they compete with fellow players. This system is an example by our friends at Drone Interactive that is a plug-and-play solution. But we're also seeing other versions of this that utilize the roof and the ceiling of entertainment facilities so that drones can be raced and compete in the ceilings or on the roofs of these locations, offering a new dimension and a new means to monetize the entertainment experience. But I am a consultant, and it is important that I give you the good news as well as the bad news. And there are a number of elephants that we need to deal with when we're looking at the deployment of head-mounted displays, be they augmented or virtual reality systems in out-of-home entertainment. The first one is more than obvious to us, and I've already touched upon that, and that is hygiene. The need for correct cleaning, the need for correct preparation, the need for correct education of the players and the staff in the means of deploying this technology. There is also the issue that we are blindfolding or obscuring the vision of our playing audience, and so we need to train the staff, and we need to make sure that the safety capabilities of the technology are up to the needs. This is not just about grabbing a couple of home entertainment systems, throwing them into an empty retail unit and hoping people are going to have a good time. This is a professional entertainment medium and it needs to be treated accordingly. We have seen the development of home entertainment systems engineered to supply the requirements of out of home, the ability to be robust compared to the consumer variants through special head straps and special guards, for them to be made not just robust, but ergonomic to fit all types of head and to be comfortable while being used in high adrenaline attractions. The 3 R's are very important to what we try and relay to our audience. These systems need to be reliable, they need to be resilient, they need to be robust. And the system in the middle even takes the Vive Pro system and configures it totally for out-of-home entertainment. The individual is wearing a special head-mounted shield, which they put on before clipping in the virtual reality system. And that allows them to have a simple and easy to clean operation, but also allows simple functionality for the riders to experience the immersive entertainment. And so to the final phase of our industry and the appearance of what our future beckons. Cross reality is the ultimate for all of us in the out-of-home entertainment, because it takes away a lot of the restraints of augmented and virtual reality technology and marries them all together into a system that is far more compelling, far more unique to our area of business. I've talked about the limitations of virtual reality headset systems. I've talked about the limitations of augmented, but I have not touched upon projection mapping and the ability to have digital projection scenery and environments where there is no need for a head-mounted display to encumber the users. We have seen the first projection map systems that are interactive deployed in the bowling industry, creating interactive bowling experiences. As with all entertainment medium, time and the need to go with the new audience is essential, and the bowling industry is no slouch when it comes to that. They have noticed the downturn initially a few years ago in the traditional bowler, the traditional sports and tournament bowler, and they have now seen a growth in family and social entertainment media style audiences, the nuclear groups, the streamers and the entertainers looking for fun in groups that they can stream to their friends. And this has built up the development of projection mapped bowling systems, where not just the striking of the pins, but also a projected interactive game experience married into the high intensity of the visual narrative is needed to create a compelling experience that draws the audiences back to the facilities. We have also seen companies look at the opportunity created by augmented reality karting systems and gone one step further, removing the head-mounted display and using projection mapping to create a totally compelling, a totally interactive, and a totally changeable environment. One day you are playing a Mario Kart racing game within this environment, and at the click of a mouse, it is turned into a PvP bumper car environment, all using projection mapping. The roadway, the hazards, the power-ups, the coins, even information about what is happening to your vehicle, all achieved through projection mapping. And we have seen this develop not just for the indoor kart arena sector, but we have seen it also deployed into the existing karting sector. The use of illuminated and projection mapped icons throughout a traditional raceway, adding interactivity to the existing experience. As with the roller coaster, we saw the addition of virtual reality as a means to offer a new lease of life. Projection mapping has allowed us to go further with what is already existing in the marketplace. You have a climbing wall. It is used just by those athletes that are capable of climbing it. You have an augmented reality climbing wall, and suddenly you have a game system where the players are using their bodies in competitive experiences. And suddenly your climbing wall gets a brand new lease of life, as well as the most important thing, it becomes monetizable. Where previously the climbing wall was just an attachment to an activity facility, now the climbing wall is a game system that people will want to play. And then we go to the logical conclusion of this technology, which is full projection mapping. The ability to have physical items in the real world that have visuals created superimposed on them. So what you are looking at is the prototype of Goofy's Painted House, a Walt Disney developed concept where all of the items, the television, the globe, the door, the washing machine, the refrigerator, are all physical items in the real world, but their representation is illuminated, achieved, animated by projection mapping. So when the player shoots at the icebox, it doesn't just sit there, it actually animates, and that animation is achieved by superimposing projection mapping onto that actual physical item. It is creating a totally immersive environment which needs no 3D glasses, which needs no head-mounted display, but is so compelling that you are literally in the game, that you feel that you are part of the immersive experience. Using projection map systems that have a pixel count that is totally unachievable by even the wildest dreams of the head-mounted display manufacturers. And at the click of a mouse, the game can go from shooting custard pies around Goofy's house to a Christmas experience shooting snowballs at Santa. The ability of marrying the best of immersive technology with the simplicity of digital game development has created the next level of compelling entertainment narrative. And we have seen companies in Japan take this one step further. Both the projected environment of the immersive world linked in with physical items and all of the action controlled through an augmented reality weapon system. The player wielding their gun that has kick and vibration through tactile feedback and shows the targets that you're aiming at, not just on the projected screen, but also through the visor, the digital augmented reality gun sight. Concepts that marry the technology together that gives cross-reality its name. Well, I've covered the fundamental parts of the industry. It is difficult to go through so much in so short a time. And hopefully, if you have questions, I'll be able to answer some of them. But also, if you sign up for our newsletter, you'll be able to be kept up to date with developments in this sector. But the one thing that I would like you to take away from my presentation is this. What we are achieving is an immersive entertainment environment that talks to an audience that is already familiar with interactive narrative. Especially in the last few months that we have gone through, we have a stir-crazy audience, an audience that has been stuck at home using their home gaming systems and are looking for compelling and new experiences that will take them away from their worries, but also draw them into an experience that they're prepared to come back and play again and again. But it is important for the operators and investors out there to understand that the operation model has to be safe, reliable, and simple. It has to work well, it has to be easy to maintain, and it shouldn't come with tons and tons of debt. The revenue generation model is essential. These are repeat play experiences. Repeat visitation is the draw that brings people back again and again. Depending on one experience for 12 months is a failure rate. Depending on offering what the players want and repeating that again and again with the latest updates is essential. And not all the time do we mean totally changing the experience, but the ability to have nuance, additional levels and updates to draw the audience back and to communicate that fact through social media. Compelling content is the glue that holds the technology together. I say to many of our individuals that hire us as consultants that we are not here to sell technology. We are here to sell experiences. We are looking at an experiential audience. They want to have good times and they don't care how it is achieved. They care of the level of entertainment that they're getting out of that experience. And we are now seeing the need for multiplex entertainment. The development has started, and I have spent most of my time while in lockdown dealing with investors and clients that are looking towards the next generation, the sixth generation of immersive entertainment, building on frictionless payment, building on contactless interaction with the guest and the interactive medium, building on the latest projection and digital LED display panel systems, building on flexibility. So rather than hoping that one attraction will be able to pay back your enormous debt caused by the latest IP, that you can have multiple entertainment experiences locked together and that they can be quickly changed and updated. Flexibility is king, compelling experience is king, and the correct price point for that entertainment is king. The future of out-of-home entertainment in a staycation market will be unique, compelling, and flexible entertainment venues. What was achieved After the Spanish flu epidemic, with the fun fair and the arcade, will be achieved in our new future with the location-based entertainment and mixed-use urban entertainment centers. For us, the future is compelling. I am just looking forward to being able to play a part of it. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. I hope I haven't bored you too much with a rundown of our industry. There are the details to contact me with. I look forward to taking questions. But once again, I would love to thank everybody involved with this unique and compelling event. And it was nice to be one of those that kicked off this fantastic day of presentations.
Kevin, are you still here? Did you run off?
I have not run off, don't worry.
You just went to get a drink, did you? Okay. So, just a question that's in my head. You and I go back into the early 90s. You sold me my Gen 2 VR equipment from, was that Digital or whatever, or out of the UK. They had the Pixel Planes machines. And then you went on to help create the Disney Quest, which is the longest running virtual reality, most successful, theme park in a box ever. What do you see as the follow-on to Disney Quest? What's the next Disney Quest? Because they closed that just a little while ago. What's your thoughts on the next successor to something as epic as Disney Quest? Kevin, are you still there? I guess he lost his audio, or what?
I think he may have popped out. I do not see him on the attendee list. So don't know if he was kicked or he'll probably be coming back in here in just a moment. I do not see him on the attendee list right now.
Oh, wow. Guess I bored him with the question, or
no, because I mean he was on as you were asking the question to start, but I do not see him on the attendee list. So great presentation. I was dazed listening to Kevin. Like I could sit and listen to him for a while. I thought that was really interesting. I was going to ask him about VR esports and kind of getting his thoughts on the kind of the next steps and what that looks like. Actually, I'm familiar with Hado. I've talked to that team. Kind of that AR experience he was showing where you've got shields and fireballs and stuff, and then it's superimposed for the audience to see it as well. So thought that was really interesting.
Definitely. So for those, y'all had to view the video portion and blow that up to see his slide deck.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're waiting on him to come back, what's next on the agenda?
Yeah, up next. So we've got a DCL blogger, one of the top content creators inside the community of Decentraland here. And Maddie, I think you're here. Let's do a quick mic check. Bottom left-hand corner, if you want to click the microphone.
He seems to be in a private chat right now.
Oh, I see.
Hence the lock over his name.
Yeah, thanks for the heads up.
But who's he chatting with?
may have sent an invite.
And
hold on. Yeah, hold on one moment. Let's see.
Yeah, he might be locked in there.
Yeah, getting this taken care of. One moment. Oh, okay. Awesome. Oh, and there's Kevin.
Yeah, sorry, I was kicked out.
No worries. Apologize.
So did you catch my question, Kevin?
Yes, please go for it. Sorry about that.
I was asking basically back in our early days, we got together because you sold me our Gen 2 equipment,
Yep.
And then you went from there, you left Division and worked on Disney Quest. What do you see as, because Disney Quest is the longest running virtual reality arcade center ever, most successful ever, ran for, what, almost 20 years or something like that?
Yeah, we just well, I was only with Disney Quest from its creation to the opening of its second facility. So I was only there for 4 years, but the facility itself in Orlando went on for 19 years. It was just shy of 20. We were very unhappy.
My question is, what do you see as the next Disney Quest, the follow on, the next level, next generation, something that can be that successful?
Wow, sounds like you set this question up for me. The checks, sorry, the bitcoins in the post. The issue that we've been working on for the last, so we say, 12 months is that there are shopping mall owners, cinema facility owners, retail unit owners that have dead space, and that they are desperate to utilize the audiences that come to their facilities in a monetized entertainment experience. And so what has been going on over those 24 months is the development of concepts which are in some cases called CECs, Cinema Entertainment Centers, or the majority of the ones that I work on are UECs, Urban Entertainment Centers. This is the kind of marrying the latest of the virtual reality attractions that I showed you in the presentation with spaces such as department store, Toys R Us size facilities turned into theme parks in a box. And that is what's taking a lot of time now. Not creating unique attractions, but taking the technology and the attractions that exist and packaging them in a way that will be compelling to draw the new audience to the circus.
Awesome.
I have a question.
Of course.
So, you mentioned the theme parks in a box. I was, the other day I was talking about how a lot of white collar workers aren't going to go back to the office. They're all just going to stay home.
Yep.
Do you see something like a lot of these virtual theme parks just popping up, in an old office building or an old Toys R Us?
Sitting across from my table where I'm doing this presentation in London, there are 4 architectural schematics. One is for a old Toys R Us facility. One is for a soundstage within a still operational cinema. And the other one is, I'd have to kill you if I told you what it is. The fundamentals are people are already looking at dead space. They're looking at the total change in the way we are going to be working, as well as in the way we're going to be playing. And populating a facility with a entertainment site that changes with the audience, and that can be in the morning a soft play facility and in the evening a discotheque or a silent nightclub or a live stream of a popular movie, is something that is compelling to those investors that have money burning a hole in their pocket.
Awesome. And after last night, could you follow through and go ahead and tell him so you could kill him? Never mind.
No.
Inside joke.
Andrew wants me dead.
Oh, it's always nice. I've always been on Andrew's dead list.
I think, Jordan, you have a question?
Yeah. How far away do you think we are from VR incorporating our other senses, such as olfactory senses, maybe even like pain sensations, such as if I'm playing like a first-person shooter and I'm walking through the woods, I may smell the pine needles, and then when I get shot, I would actually feel something like that.
So we already have tactile unjuicer vests. That's a vest that you put on, and either through air bladders or through haptic actuators, they give you the feeling of the pound in the chest if the bullet hits you. They can even heat up and cool down. So when the dragon breathes on you, you get that. That's kind of very rudimentary. That is the vibration in your Thrustmaster joystick. Sadly, Sentry immersion is a complicated and difficult thing. If you think having to clean a head-mounted display after 3,000 people have used it that day is a bit of a problem, I don't want to even think about having to clean the virtual bodysuit after 3,000 people have been through that. So in our industry, we're looking towards so the first generation is tactile inducement and olfactory through smell. We already use that. The second generation is higher levels of inducement and sensory activity. And then the third stage is direct neural stimuli. This is a lot of what Elon Musk has been talking about with his brain mapping system. And it already exists in our society. It's how cochlear ear implants work. So this isn't as science fiction as some people paint it. And what we're hoping that in the next 10 years, that same technology used in binaural and brain stimulation will be incorporated into the head strap that you put on before you go into the facility. And then we're able to stimulate your muscles and then your sense of smell and your sense of hearing.
How far away we are from VR being indistinguishable from real life, such as if I'm playing a VR game for a few hours in a row, how far away is the technology from not even noticing a difference?
So I'm a consultant, and so I always have to keep on saying never say never. But on this one, I'm a little bit adamant. So I'm sticking my neck out. So I have to point out that this is my personal view and not the view of the corporation, the company. But personally, I don't think virtual reality headsets will ever get to real world. I've worn the Varjo system, which is the most sophisticated and highest pixel rate head-mounted display manufactured to date. And that has better than eye quality visuals. And there's still problems. What my perception is for the future is that there is a 6th and 7th stage of our industry that we haven't really touched yet, which will be direct brain activity. And if you want to see what that future could look like, I recommend you watch a film by a very close friend of mine, Doug Trumbull, called Brainstorm. Made in the 1970s, that film shows you possibly what direct neural entertainment inputs could look like.
This is real life for me and has been for 20 years.
Yep. That's why I drink so much. Talking about that, where's my drink? Any other questions I can ask?
You can just reach out and touch the bartender from there. You don't have to move over to him.
All right.
Yeah, the bartender we said yesterday has a really good arm, and he or she doesn't spill the drink either. No matter.
No. If only. If only.
Let's see, man.
This poor bartender.
I have the mint julep in respect of
Yes.
the event.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, that's what we should do is I'll put my Ethereum address up there to tip the bartender. How's that?
Yeah.
It'll only cost you like $50 to tip him $1.
Yeah, gas fees. That's great. That's pretty good.
Oh God, I need a drink now.
That's why gas fees. You got to double something, right? But
it is 2:00 here in England, so I have an excuse.
True. Exactly.
It's 5:00 somewhere.
Yeah, always.
Well,
Any other questions? Good. Excellent. I hope the presentation came across okay.
Hey, I have a little question for you. as of our current technology right now, what is the biggest downfall in VR? What is the biggest hindrance in moving it forward?
Oh dear, now I've got a drink in my hand and I've taken off my company badge. I would have to say that I have a real problem with the power struggle that's going on in the VR business at the moment. So I've always treated virtual reality headsets as like television flat screen displays. You know, no one cares what flat screen TV you have unless you have to buy it. No one cares what you have as long as the picture is good and it's reliable and you're happy. But with the virtual reality explosion after the Kickstarters of 2012, it became more about an ecosystem. So I couldn't use my quality head-mounted display on their platform because I have to use their virtual reality headset system only on their system. And that ecosystem, that walled garden approach has got worse. So with that walled garden, we have seen virtual reality held back, and that has been the biggest hindrance. And so now we in the out-of-home entertainment industry are just bypassing all of the confusion in that sector, and we're going our own way. And that's why you're seeing the appearance of systems such as the Star VR and the Pimax and the Barjo, and soon to be announced a new Panasonic system, which are only for enterprise VR head-mounted displays. And that should hopefully accelerate the market back to where it should be now.
And I love this question. I'm in the market for a headset. Should I wait for the new Oculus is supposed to come out in like 1 or 2 months, or what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so you are a beer lover. Do you like full fruity, intense beer, or do you like strong alcoholic beer, or do you like Michelob Light?
Second option, strong.
No one likes Michelob Light. That's a trick question. So from the point of view, even I am going to put $300 into buying the next Quest, because when you're talking $300, for a man that usually has a drinks bill at the end of a week that's a couple of thousand, it's not that big a deal, and that's part of the reason why Facebook has created the Quest Lite. But will I get the same experience of playing Halo Alex? No, nowhere near. Not a tenth, not a fifth, not a 0.1 will it be able to achieve that. And if you've played Half-Life Alex, once you've gone to that level, you never want to go back. And so I would argue that if you're going to get into VR, like if you're getting into motor racing, you don't go away and buy a Mini, you buy a Ferrari. The problem is, buy a decent computer and then find a cost-effective head-mounted display to go with that decent computer, because you're going to be updating the computer a lot more than, hopefully, you're going to be updating the head-mounted display. So I'm a fan of the HP Reverb as a compromise system while we wait for the launches in 2021. But if you can't wait, better to make your decision in March 2021 than rush it now.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Awesome talk, Kevin, as always.
Thank you.
I just have one more question. What do you think is the killer app that will make everyone want to buy a VR headset?
Ooh, so you're talking consumer.
Correct. Yeah, not out-of-home entertainment. Not out-of-home entertainment.
Compelling content, unique experience, and a good price point. That's the model that our friends at Facebook are going for. That is the model that our friends at Sony are going to go with when they announce their PlayStation VR 2 system in a couple of months' time. But there's a big argument here. Do you want the mainstream in VR, or do you want to have really good VR experiences? Because you can't have both. To have the mainstream in VR, it has to be cheap, easy, simple. To have really compelling VR experiences, you need to have a lot of complicated technology. And so that's really where out-of-home entertainment comes. For the people that do not want to put money into Facebook, for the people who do not want the complexity of setting up technology, then there's the possibility of going down to your local VR arcade facility or going to your location-based entertainment site and being immersed like you've never been immersed before. The same way that everybody wanted a Betamax or a VHS, but they still went to the cinema.
No, that makes sense. Kevin, thank you very much for being here and spending time with us for a good hour, or longer than an hour. Really good content.
I'll be here for the next 10 minutes, and then I've got a buzz.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for being here. And then just great content on the backside of this, repurposed and things like that. So if you came in late on the stream, it'll be repurposed podcast version audio, so you can listen to it while you're doing chores at home or any other activities and things like that. So
and just let me say a big thank you to both of you, Andrew and yourself, for the hard work in putting this together. I'm looking forward to seeing the results.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you, sir.
So appreciate it. Okay. I'm going to onboard DCL Blogger for about a minute if you're listening on the live stream, and then we're going to do a keynote with DCL Blogger, and then move into a panel at around 10 a.m. EST. So give me about 2 minutes, and we'll have DCL Blogger up and running.
Oh, was he supposed to start at 9?
Looks like it stayed at 10.
Kevin, did you get to check out all the booths?
Yes, I did. Very interesting.
Awesome. There's like 7 rooms here.
Oh yeah, I know. I've been wandering around. I did that last time, but yeah, now with all the videos populated, it's nice. I like the ability of clicking on a booth and then going straight to the LinkedIn. That's a nice feature.
Yeah, I definitely see this platform evolving into an open environment.
Well, once we have the news about IALPA, maybe you guys should make them aware that this platform exists.
Have they already announced that they're going to do a virtual event?
No, they make their announcement in a couple of days' time about what's going to happen to Orlando.
Well, we'll send you a link that you can send to them since you have better connections there than I do.
No, I still think you should reach out to them.
Okay, I'll do it then.
No, because the reason is stuff that comes from me usually gets put in the bin.
Understood. And I'm the newcomer on the block. Okay.
Exactly. Now, they were friendly last year. They allowed me to present for the first time in a long time at Orlando. So I have to play nice now.
But this platform handling 46,000 people might be a little difficult.
Well, well, they just had their virtual IALPA Asia event, and that was a very poor system, but they had to have a very poor system because they were dealing with Chinese issues of connectivity, where if you're doing this for America, you would just have 8 versions of this. So each person would be able to go to the water park version or
Oh
the dark
yeah, they can break it down that way, and then we could have it. We could morph each section, so people you could have X amount of people in a section, and that would probably work.
Yeah,
and it's invite only.
Exactly. Sorry, I think I came in the middle of it.
No.
Yeah, but like instancing it off, to 40 cap per instance.
So there's two ways to do there's 3 ways to do virtual conferencing. There's the have a representation, make it a Second Life, but with the ability to project on screen. There's the make it like a web page that has bloody text chat, or there's make it like a Zoom call. Mm-hmm. And everybody prefers this approach.
Well, what we have here is all of those combined.
Yeah, no, but this is Second Life. This really it allows you to bite off as much as you want. So like me, I don't have full connectivity, so I can still manipulate and walk around and interact with this environment without needing to spin the camera around or do first person perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a full nerd, you can, have everything wired up. You can even put it on a head-mounted display, and in you go. Where all the others, they don't have that flexibility. If you went to IALPA Asia Virtual, it was literally like walking through intranet. You went to a page, you clicked on it, it took you to a page, you clicked on that, the video started, you clicked on that, you had a text chat.
Interesting.
But they had to do that because of the problems with China.
Yes.
You couldn't use YouTube, you couldn't use Facebook, use LinkedIn, you could, so they near enough had to create all the components themselves.
Understood. Well, we could definitely present this to them because this is a nice system.
I think so. I'd also like you to send a link to Bob Cooney because he's got his show up event in October, and I know he's in the final stages of selecting a system.
Can do.
Have you got Bob's details?
I believe I do, but if you want to shoot them over just in case.
I'll send them to you. Do you want me to? Well, hold on. Can I click on you and send you a personal text?
In the system? Yeah, just email it. It's much better for me.
Okay, it's going.
Sure.
Oh wow, got a lot of emails while I've been away. Bloody hell! Oh well, thank you for sharing this on social media, guys. Wow.
No problem.
How do I get on? Too late. Your loss. Wow.
Send them the link to have him try to get in.
Well, when you create that sizzle reel, I'll dangle it over his head and say, see what you missed out. Oh, wow. Interesting. Right, it's gone to you. When you speak to him, just say, Kevin's been part of our virtual event and he quite liked the interface that we're using. Thought that you might be interested in just evaluating it.
I'll shoot him over the link of the streaming video from today.
Yeah. Well, maybe not my presentation, because my presentation can be exactly the same I'm going to do at his event. That's the nice thing about our sector. All I have to do is update the slides. There's a company that's just launched, Andrew, a esports mobile phone betting or wagering.
Cool.
Gameco. If they're not on your radar, I'd recommend it.
All right.
Yeah, that is going to blow the market wide open that they've got legal control to do that now.
So are we waiting for the 10 o'clock then, Chris? Or Chris is in a different chat? Jared?
Did you book in for AMA Gala, Andrew?
I have not.
Can you do that, please?
The AMA Gala?
You want me to send you a link?
Please.
God, this free consultancy is really piling up.
How far away is that?
I've forgotten. I think it's relatively close by. They've gone full virtual, so it's going to be a giant Zoom. Oh, interesting. Oh, jeez.
Okay. Do a quick audio check. Everybody can hear me?
Yep.
No, I can't hear you, sir.
Thanks for that acknowledgement. Appreciate it. All right. I'm going to ask DCL Blogger, aka Maddie. Would you like me to call you Maddie or DCL Blogger, or what's best?
Maddie's fine. Maddie.
Fine. We'll stick with Maddie then. I'll ask Maddie to come up on stage with the avatar and face everybody, so we get the good video on stream. So again, we are live on YouTube. We're going to do a quick 15-20 minute chat around Decentraland. Maddie is one of the top content creators around Decentraland. Really knows everything there is to know about Decentraland. Has been a part of that ecosystem since 2017, so around 3 years. And I consume a lot of his content. I really enjoy it. So I'm glad to have him here.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Thanks for inviting me, first of all. It's a very cool platform. I think virtual spaces and hangouts, there obviously seem to be a need for them in the times we live in, and it's very exciting to be part of the early phase and seeing it evolve. So I'm not sure how many of you guys are familiar with the project Decentraland, but that's kind of what I got involved with about 2 to 3 years ago now. I've been involved with basically, I just missed the ICO, and it was a cryptocurrency project that launched an ICO in 2017, and they got really lucky with the timing. It was kind of like August 2017 when everyone was, I guess, throwing money at ICOs, right? That was the thing to do. And so they funded really well at like, I think it was $23 million in a few minutes. Again, I think a part of it was luck. You're just being funded at that time. But they promised a virtual world, which was going to be in VR, that was supposed to be owned by the people. Okay, that was the idea, and hopefully you guys can see my screen. You kind of get a gist of what some of the features are and some of the things you can do. At a bird's eye level, the map kind of looks like this. Each pixel is 16 by 16 meters. You can jump into any pixel or any area of the map. It's a little bit confusing to know what the hell's going on, so I'll try to break it up. But basically, these are districts which are kind of lead projects specific to certain topics. So this is Vegas City, this is Decentraland University, this is Decentraland Conference Center. The green areas are Decentraland owned areas that they're going to build out. So you could buy land wherever you wanted. That was the cool thing about it. And because there was just so much hype in 2017 when they held their land auction, a lot of this land sold out for quite a lot of money. I think collectively they had like $20 million worth of land that was bought during that time. All that mana used to buy that land was burnt and removed from circulation. And basically when you teleport into any of these lands, you kind of get something like this. And depending on what people have built there, it's an open platform. So it's not like you're going into a separate instance. You're kind of going in where everyone else is. So it's kind of supposed to be something like RuneScape. If you guys have played some, WoW or an online universe where you can kind of see what your neighbor's doing, et cetera, et cetera. Some of the stuff that we hold at the moment, we have conferences where we plug a Zoom call basically to the screen. A bunch of people come and check it out. We've had a soccer tournament. So recently we've been kind of getting really dynamic with our games and our features. So we had a really cool soccer tournament. We have galleries, which we put art on the wall and we can buy them as NFTs straight off the wall. This one, we streamed a game. We had a tournament, streaming a game, and then kind of people watching and chatting. We've been launched for about 6 months, so it's still kind of infant in the sense of the virtual world itself has been launched for about 6 to 7 months. I think Feb 2020 was the launch. But just to give you an idea visually what it looks like, it's kind of like this. So I'll go through just kind of what it looks like to give you an idea, and then we'll kind of work backwards from there about the start and the middle and what it's got to at the moment. So we got this. We have got other experiences like, if I can pull it up. Sorry, let me just quickly pull it up. But yeah, we've started off, I guess, with events. If you go to the event calendar, you can see things like people have a radio show where they broadcast certain topics. We have the game jam happening at the moment where we can compete for $15,000 worth of prizes and win. You're building stuff with the SDK, so different games, etc. Integrating Matic, which is our scaling partner. We have like little clubs and things, casinos. So art platforms have started to launch on Decentraland. So Super Air, you're all familiar with. Maker's Place, they all have kind of a HQ in Decentraland. And we've got like a Decentral Casino. I think they're going to be launching poker, it seems, in 22 days. So I hope that kind of gives you a gist of what Decentraland looks like. I'm going to try and rewind it back a little bit to give you, I guess, the structural components. Oh, here's some more pictures of what's going on. So we had a fashion show, so people put on their favorite wearables. Again, more people joining in to watch conferences. This is a gallery exhibition they had. weekly roundtables that we host, and a bunch of community members jump in and watch what's happening. I know we're all kind of dressed really weirdly, but I'll kind of explain why. So yeah, Decentraland was supposed to be, I guess, a virtual world where you can go in, and it's kind of supposed to be a place where it has a buzzing economy. That's the whole point of having this sort of a virtual platform, is that you can go in there and earn money. You can do whatever you want. You can build games if you want to. You can run conferences if you want to. You can have clubs, galleries. You can do all kinds of things. And the idea of it is to play with the idea of scarcity, right? We have the land, which there's only 90,000 of those land pieces available. So the map is about 150 by 150 in dimension. So 300 by 300 in I guess width and length, which is 90,000 parcels. Out of those 90,000, 45,000 parcels are purchasable. And currently the cheapest parcel is about 10,000 mana, which is, with mana at about 10 cents, that's about 900 to 1,000 USD. So land has gone up quite a lot over the last 2 to 3 years, just because I guess the interest in people purchasing land, and the economy's had a lot of time. I think it's done about $20 million on the secondary market, just people buying and selling land. So it's been crazy in terms of land sales and that sort of activity, which has got a lot of attention from the press, and people have got involved to figure out what the hell's going on. But yeah, first there was only land we could buy and sell, and I guess people were kind of positioning themselves where they wanted to be, land close to the center. Is that me making those noises? I think that's my cat running around. I apologize.
No worries. No worries, man.
Yeah, it's jumping around the window. Okay, we'll ignore that hopefully. But yeah, so that's the economy that initially started, was about the land thing, and that got a lot of people interested and trying to buy land and sell land. That's actually how I got interested. So I purchased land because I was like, oh, this is a cool little investment. At 2018 January, I came across this Discord where people were buying and selling land in Decentraland, and I was like, holy crap, there's land selling for $300. So I bought some land, and the cool thing is with NFTs is you can negotiate your way to purchasing these assets. So I was negotiating, say, 4 to 5 pieces of land for a bulk price of, say, $800. And what I was finding was that within 2 to 3 days, I'd find buyers for those exact lands for like double the price sometimes even 10x the price. So it was a crazy economy. The timing was perfect because it was coming off that hype where people were trying to throw their money around with their BTC that suddenly went from like $3,000 to $20,000. And it was just an interesting time where there was just so much money moving through. So that's how I got involved with just buying and selling land. And now I own some land pieces, bought and sold my way up to holding a big stack of mana, which I've used now to buy and sell other things. So now what's happened is they've released other things. So now hopefully you guys are familiar with the concept of NFTs. NFT tokens, just a quick rundown, are the tokens that are different to ERC20 tokens or tokens that are like Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're fungible, but NFTs are non-fungible tokens in the sense that these tokens, although they're ownable on the blockchain, they represent certain assets. So NFTs represent, they can represent land. NFTs can represent wearables. They can represent, your domain name or your name. So, for example, in Gamerjibe, my name is DCL Blogger, right? But in Decentraland, my name is Neo. It's DCL Blogger. I have like 5 or 10 names, which are NFT tokens. And think of them as domain names because they're sellable. So it's kind of like RuneScape, where if you have a really rare name in maybe 10 years, it's like, holy crap, this guy's got the name Neo. He was obviously an early adopter because you can only have a unique name. The cool thing is everything is ownable. So that's an NFT token, which I can sell back on the marketplace. If in 10 years' time someone wants to represent themselves as Neo, I can sell that name. And again, that's part of the economy. So with wearables as well, it's very interesting in the sense that these are items we can all wear. So if you saw people kind of wearing different things, that's because they had purchased certain wearables. And the concept with wearables is that they're scarce. There's only X amount of these wearables released. Where's my wearables page? Yeah. And the background kind of denotes the rarity. So we had a bunch of games that came in to play the soccer tournament. I really wish I could pull up that soccer tournament really quickly. Let me kind of do that. Here we go, recap. So we're playing with the concept of gamifying because we want Decentraland. We're kind of exploring the utility of Decentraland. Kind of think of it as like how Ethereum, when it was launched, it was a great concept. Ethereum was amazing, but it was like up to us, the community, to find a use case for Ethereum. we had now DeFi is popping out, NFTs is kind of becoming a thing. That all required, CryptoKitties to do something crazy. We had, the DeFi hype now is kind of showing that there is an interest in that direction. So Decentraland is supposed to be kind of a virtual platform where it's up to the community to play around with different concepts and see what works. So as you can see on the video, hopefully there is some games going on, and we had 24 teams compete for a World Cup, which was an NFT which was backed by gold, which was really interesting. It was minted using DGX tokens. And so it had a base value of 1 gram of gold, which I think was about 60 USD at the time. And the winner of the cup, of the tournament, the game, the company that won it, they won the token. And, that's a thing in Decentraland now. Like, you have that first cup of Decentraland. It was a pretty cool tournament. And from that, we had a bunch of wearables that were released. So we had different teams, so 100 of each of these were released. And now it became a collector's thing, right? So people wanted to collect all 24 of these teams. So 24 teams, each with 100 of their jerseys, and it became a collector's thing. And, there's only 100 of these. So we saw them sell from 500 mana all the way up to some of them, like some really, really, like the Decentraland one now, the cheapest Decentraland jersey you can get is like 2,000 mana, I think. It's a couple hundred USD. There's some really, really rare items, like the ones with the pink backgrounds, which have only 10 in existence. So again, the economy is based on scarcity. So if you have some of these, then you have only 1 of 10 of these that were ever released in Decentraland. So again, in 2 to 3 years' time, if you have that, scarcity is provable on blockchain. So it's a really interesting concept. And now we've kind of opened the door. So these were all made by Decentraland just to test the wearables concept. And now we've opened the doors so that artists can come in. In fact, just yesterday, the application for the next 10 licenses for Decentraland wearables closed. So we're looking at the forum at the moment. And so we had a lot of proposals by artists. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Josie. Josie's a really popular artist in the crypto space. She has some really cool art, one of the early artists, and she's really, blown up recently. She sold about 42,000 USD worth of crypto art, I think last week, on Nifty Gateway. So she's come in and put a proposal to release her wearables, which may become a collector's piece because they have a scarcity once again, right? So hopefully we can attract a lot of artists coming in and building, their proposals or their artwork within Decentraland. We had, Marco Matic, I collect his art actually. I recently purchased one of his NFT pieces for a couple of $1,000s. He does this kind of ink AR, VR type art. It's really, really cool. So he's applied for a wearables license. And again, if he introduces his wearables, again, collectors are flocking to the area to collect those things. And Decentraland wants to become something like that, where it's got a buzzing economy. It's got collecting, it's collectors are there. There's people, you can go in there and earn some money doing certain activities. You can go in Vegas City and do different things. Anyway, the marketplace is really deep, and I love talking about it because that's one of my favorite things. But again, it's really, really deep, right? Decentraland is an interesting concept because it's a virtual platform, but the ownership of the ownership by people is where it gets really interesting, because with the mana token, so the token they use to govern and to buy assets and everything is called the mana token. Currently it sits pretty healthy at number, I think it was like 90 or something, page 1. It has $140 million market cap, doing pretty good. We've survived the bear market, thank God, and hopefully we'll do well. But with your mana token now, depending on how much mana you have, you can use that to vote in certain decisions. So things like, if I pull out the DAO page, hopefully I have it open. Here we go, Decentraland DAO. So the DAO is the body that's kind of owned by the people and run by the people. And the DAO owns about 222 million mana worth of funding for the next 10 years. So 22 million mana per year will be released to the DAO, which is us, the people, to govern where that money can go. It can go in competitions, it can go in getting maybe some artists on board, or wherever it goes, it's going to be us to put that across to the platform and make that happen. 22 million mana a year is about a couple $1 million US every year, which is a healthy fund to make things happen. Another reason why Decentraland is really attractive, because it has the funding power behind it to make things happen and hopefully last 5 to 6 years. And I was just listening to the VR talk just before, and I think VR is an amazing concept, but it still has a lot of hurdles to get there. And I think we're still about 5, maybe 5+ years. I am no expert in VR, so I'm happy to be corrected. But I think, another 5+ years is where we're really going to start to see these integrations of what VR can really do with people's lives, and the accessibility is going to be there. Hopefully some cheaper models, some less eye strainy models, etc., etc. So hopefully it's good to be part of a project that has the sustainability and the funding to get there. But the DAO owns a lot of the contracts, right? The land contract is owned by the DAO. The wearables contract is owned by the DAO. A lot of them is the mana keys are kind of burnt or thrown away, so there's no more mana that can be minted. The content is hosted on community servers. So there's about 15 to 20 servers that consistently hold the content of Decentraland. In fact, in terms of the world, so the world is, active from the community servers. So one person can't actually shut down Decentraland at the moment. Decentraland themselves can't even shut down Decentraland. So in that sense, the decentralization process gets really, really deep. And I think Decentraland wanted to be a decentralized, build out the structure first and then the virtual platform, which is why they were kind of slow to launch to the public. They were kind of in development for 1 or 2 years. A lot of the tech and the mind that came behind the concept was to build that governing and decentralized structure first, and then the virtual experience. So now in the last 6 to 7 months, we've just seen a huge amount of features be released, and they keep tweeting, right? So we have clubs, we have this game. So now we can kind of teleport around. You can see we can pick up items. We can go through certain portals, jump into certain areas. And these features are slowly being rolled out. So the community is going to take this, spin up some games. And these aren't separate instances. Like I said, if you can see in the top left, this is kind of being played in the Genesis Plaza, right? But if you have land around this, you can watch this happen. So it's kind of like a place that hopefully will one day host tens of thousands of people. You're going to walk around, you'll see a gallery, you can walk around, see some people playing some games like some shooter games, maybe some people in a club around you. It's kind of supposed to emulate the real world, but in the virtual space. It has been a challenge to make this happen because it's all browser-based, so it can all run on the browser. You don't have to download anything. And I think it's similar to how GamerJive works. And so it's hard because the stability and trying to get things right and making sure people are all fluid and working well with this sort of interactivity is quite difficult. Being a web browser, we're not on a Steam client or anything like that. But we're getting there, and it's exciting to see the evolution of that. I think that's most of it. I didn't really want to get too in depth, but just going to the backers and the investors, we have DCG Group that is run by Barry Silbert, who is quite prominent in the crypto community, owns 1% of Bitcoin, so he has a ton of money. Havana is one of his strongholds. He has about 2,000 to 3,000 pieces of lands, and he's got he built this this little office space, kind of just showcasing what is going to happen, right? So he's bought some of his partners, and they've built up some concept buildings. They're not really functional. You can't really do anything with them, but you can see in his land, he's ready to get active once the platform is stable. He should kind of pioneer the whole workspaces from Decentraland or the space. So we have Binance as well, opening up an exchange. We have some other partners. I think Game Credits, you'll be hearing from them as well. They're going to be headquartering in Decentraland. We have about 5 to 10 companies. Alex from Nuggets News as well, also headquartering. So we're kind of seeing this wave of people put their headquarters in Decentraland and slowly build it out. I think we're still only seeing 1% of what Decentraland can do. We've only been around for 6 months, and the function, there's a lot of things that are great, but there's a lot of little bugs and things we're running into. I think Decentraland is going to have a whole different shape in the next year or two. We're going to see a lot more things happen. So I'm more excited about what the space is going to look like 1 to 2 years from now. I think that's, actually, we'll go through MetaZone as well. So some businesses are setting up shop in Decentraland. They've put up like simple things like clubs and stuff where you can go in and tip, which was the first thing that you saw here. So this is Sugar Club. You can go in there. He's got a little tip box. So people tip him like a couple hundred mana. And I think he's earned quite a considerable amount of mana just hosting events and going in there. Decentraland is not VR at the moment, but they aim to get there, I think, Q1 by next year or sometime earlier. I know they're working on some sort of integration. Again, it's an issue with running a browser-based experience, right? It's difficult to have something in VR that runs fluidly and have a good product in VR. So they've delayed that a little bit, but it's very, very much on the roadmap. This is the roadmap, and they've got native VR Explorer definitely in there. So that's definitely going to happen. The roadmap's really cool. I don't want to really get too much into it, but I guess we're going to be seeing a bunch of different things like guilds and groups and things that are going to be DAO based. So you can have a branch DAO that will help you run your guild, which will, you can jump in a group and play around with different games and earn different things. In world trading as well. So the marketplace, I don't know if you guys collect NFT art or crypto art, but if you go to the partners, you can see that they've onboarded the super rare marketplace. So suddenly you can buy art from Decentraland in Mana. Maker's Place, Known Origin. So all of this art can be bought. The NFT can be sent straight to your wallet, and that NFT can be put on your walls in Decentraland. And going back to the Trello, what they want to do is have in-world trading. So again, I'm a big RuneScape player. I used to play that like a crazy dude back in the day, right? So I used to go in and buy and sell stuff. That was just a fun thing to do. And to think that we'll be able to do that in the world by trading cryptocurrencies with NFTs within the world, it's going to try and bring, I guess, the OpenSea or the NFT decentralized marketplaces in world, which will be really exciting to see, because then you can start to barter things. You can start to, maybe I'll sell a land for 2 of your land, or a wearable that you have that's really, really, really rare to maybe a couple of names, etc. So we're going to see this whole new thing, hopefully, in the near future. So that is most of it. And lastly, I'll go through MetaZone. So again, a lot of businesses are setting up shop, doing different things. MetaZone is really cool. You can, I guess, developers can build experiences. So again, you're going to hear from Will again in 5 or 10 minutes. They're going to jump in on the panel, but Will is going to be here and he runs MetaZone. And basically you can buy these scenes that have a limited amount. They're going to be tokenized scenes. So the whole scene is going to be represented by an NFT token. And then you're going to be able to deploy that on your land. So if I'm a landowner and I don't own any content, nor do I have the skills to build any content, I can purchase this content and deploy it on my scene. So we have Ethermon come in and say that, hey, you can buy 100 of these Ethermon egg nests, and only people from these nests have special Ethermon that you can buy only from them. So that, Ethermon's it kind of went through a no development period for a year, but it's been recently acquired. So they're kind of trying to light a fire back into it. But it's cool to see that, you can buy these for 18,000 mana each, deploy it on your land, and hopefully have some sort of a business or an experience that's unique to your land or unique to the 100 people. So there's people that built certain things like houses and simple things. You can have little models. This is a zombie game, so Corona Zombies game. You can actually get this game and deploy it on your land. 30,000 mana to buy. And, MetaZone are really, really cool. I think they've done a couple of million mana worth of sales. A chess game, you can buy that for 500 mana, deploy it onto your land. So it's kind of really cool. It's really hard to kind of get really deep with Decentraland just because it has so many moving parts and it's consistently changing. But I hope I've given a rough rundown. So, I'll stop it there and I'll open it up to the floor for questions. But yeah, I apologize if I missed anything, but that's Decentraland.
Yeah, so we'll take questions. You can either ask it on the audio portion, so bottom left-hand corner, just make sure you're unmuted. You can raise your hand, as we've done before. So if you want to do that on the audio, or you can ask it in the text chat. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to do so.
What are the best business opportunities in Decentraland? Because I noticed, there's those businesses coming in. I just want to know a little bit more about that.
We're at such early stages. It's difficult to see which businesses are going to last, right? Opportunities in terms of the best business opportunities. I think just investing in land, and I think I missed this actually, but I had a tweet up where it showed, okay, here we go. So a land sale that happened recently was these 30 parcels that was sold of land connected to Fashion Street, which is hopefully going to be like a fashion district, and a road. And these 30 pieces of parcels collectively were sold for, 300,000 mana, which is 30,000 USD. So there's a lot of money flowing through the land marketplace. And I think on a simple term, there's a lot of money if you can really understand the marketplace and understand when to buy, when to sell, who to buy from, what price to buy from, and how to negotiate. And in that sense, that's how I made a lot of my money doing that. In terms of business opportunities on top of Decentraland, we've seen MetaZone do really well selling experiences. I know Vegas City have sold parts of their casino, so that as a buyer of the NFT that owns part of that casino, you share in the revenue of the casino. But they're still they're yet to kind of launch because they're waiting for the Matic integration. So once that goes live and there's people playing gambling along, so I don't know how that's going to do. You can buy art. So again, here's an artist who's built. So this is one of the artists that did a proposals. You can see he does some really cool like AR or VR art. It's really cool inked art, right? And these art pieces they sell. So as an artist, you can sell your art pieces, but in Decentraland, you can also apply with a wearables license and sell wearables, which people go crazy over. If you're an established artist, like if Josie starts selling her art, her wearables, I'm sure they're not going to go cheap, right? So these are some of the few that we're seeing. We're seeing some people just host like events and getting sponsors, and I guess what we're doing here, but in Decentraland, just getting a bunch of people together, hosting an event and having some sponsors sponsor that event, hopefully getting 50 to 100 people come in and check it out. Those are some of the many things we've seen. We've seen the World Cup as well. That was a similar type of plan. I went around getting sponsors and we ran the World Cup, and it was an experience. It was a lot of fun. I think we earned like $1,000 from it, just from running that. So again, we're just experimenting with it. Those are some, but I'm sure there's so many untapped business opportunities.
What are some of the tools to keep you up to date with Decentraland? Like I can't think of the website where the land sales, where it's got all the charts and all the analytics.
Oh yeah, man, you're just so right, dude.
It's a great website.
Like I said, guys, Decentraland has so many moving parts. It's so difficult to keep on top of it. I think it's worth, and this is what I did. I realized upon jumping into Decentraland that it's such a deep concept. So I actually spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of time kind of going in real deep and like 2 weeks, I think it was a good 1 or 2 weeks that was just kind of reading all this content, going on YouTube, figuring out what the hell is going on, chatting in Discord. So this is my blog to kind of talk about the Decentraland land marketplace. And I have a lot of articles here like why trade NFTs, how to start, I guess, investing in Decentraland. I do marketplace analysis videos where I go through the marketplace and show you what lands to buy, what are cheap, what were some good deals. So that'd be good. I go through some case studies where I do some like land flips and I show you how I did that and my pricing with when I bought and how much I bought. So that's some really good ones to kind of check out. But non-fungible, as I think it was Chris pointed out, is a really good one to kind of keep in touch of what's recently selling. So you can kind of see that 9,800 mana was purchased 11 hours ago, 2 days ago, these were purchased. Sadly, the gas fees has kind of slowed us down, which is really, really annoying because we're getting so much publicity, but the gas fees is like $50 to do a transaction, right? From 30 cents or 10 cents, whatever it used to be. So it's kind of slowed down the marketplace, but non-fungible is good. DCL Blogger, my blog is good. Decentraland, the blog is good, obviously. We have dclplazas.com, which is also good. YouTube and watch basically every piece that you can find on Decentraland. It is a very deep project. It's going to take you some time to kind of understand what's going on. I think if you go to decentraland.org and you kind of just go through these different areas, so events, DAO, the blog, the builder, the SDK, the avatars. So if you want to jump in and build your own name, you have to go to avatars, then you create your avatar, and you got to claim your unique name, etc. I think all of these will start making sense once you read all of these and a bunch of the community content out there.
Yeah, thanks for answering that. So I did put that in chat. So those links are clickable in chat. So if y'all want to like favorite it or put it on your browser, nonfungible.com, dclblogger.com, dclplazas.com. It's a couple of resources there. We're up against the clock. We have a panel, and I think Miles popped in, and Steve's here too, I believe. So we'll do a little transition. But thank you for this initial presentation, Maddie. I appreciate it. Thanks for jamming in that information in 20 minutes, man. That was it's rough.
It's rough, but I'm used to it. So I hope you guys are all informed by now.
Yeah, really appreciate that. So we do need a couple. Oh yeah, it was a great job. It's phenomenal. And then one little bow, tying a bow on that. Obviously, the team of Silicon Nexus, Andrew Prell, Tom Rose here, Jared's here, Jared Busby, talking to them about, because they're creating an NFT ecosystem, right? And creating an entire thing from the ground up. There's something there, right? Through those conversations and how you can do it cross-platform and the tokenization and things like that. I think that's really interesting, and definitely think there's some good conversations to have with the Silicon Nexus team. So.
Yeah. Matt, I would love to show you our Gen 1 platform at some point. We can schedule a meeting, and I'd be happy to show it off to you.
Hell yeah, man. I'm down to learn anything NFTs related. I'm sure like there's going to be some cross-chain, cross-platform.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe that's phase 2. Maybe that's the next year thing. But we're going to start to branch out and kind of interconnect. That's the benefit of the NFT land, I guess. So I'm all open for those discussions.
Excellent. Yeah, after your panel, I'll try. I can maybe even meet you in a booth or something. So.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, so we'll do a little mini transition here into this next panel. I do think I don't see Will.
Yeah, I don't see Will either. I'm just messaging him real quick.
Yeah. So we'll get Will in here, and then we'll get started. So if you're on the stream watching, again, thanks for being here. Make sure to hit that like button, by the way. I haven't said that hardly at all for the stream. Make sure to smash that like button because, if there's 60 views, there should be 60 likes. So that's the way we see it. So make sure you do that. We're waiting for Will. If the speakers for this panel could come up on stage, that would be great. So I know Steve Wand is here. Miles Anthony is here. And Maddie obviously is here.
Steve, what's up, man? Good to see you.
How are you guys doing?
You're doing really well. Looks like you figured it out without any help.
Yeah,
took me about 10 minutes to figure it out.
He came rolling in about the bottom of the hour. So
yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'll give you guys your little intros here in just a minute. We're gonna again get Will.
Miles is here. Miles is on the platform.
Yeah. Hey, Miles.
So Miles is from Decentral Games.
Yeah. So I'll give you guys your intros here in just a moment.
Will's registering, so yeah.
Sorry. Okay, perfect. Yeah, no worries. I do a quick audio check with Miles. Bottom left-hand corner, there is the microphone icon. Just make sure that you are unmuted. If you want to do an audio check, we'll get you checked in. Yep. Yeah, good point. So number one, make sure you're unmuted, and then everyone in this area can hear you talk. Don't worry about the deafen button to the right of the microphone. Then to the right of the deafen button is share video. Go ahead and click that if you have your camera operating, and that'll pull your video. Bottom right-hand corner. If you want to click the camera icon, it'll show all the different cameras that are on. If you are watching and you want to full screen it, you hover over the camera camera view that you want to full screen or picture in picture and click the three dots.
Hey, what's up,
full
guys?
Screen and picture in picture.
Figured out the mic.
Cool.
Hey, man.
Awesome.
Hey, what's up, Maddie?
All right. So still, and if there's anything, yes. Oh, by the way, so obviously Maddie did this just a few minutes ago, but if you want to share something, bottom left-hand corner to the right of the share video icon, that's kind of like the square with the triangle, you can share your screen. If there's anything, an article to pull up or some type of website, feel free to do that anytime. We'll stack questions. So, a question comes up, you don't want to forget it. Feel free to type it into text. We'll just stack those questions that way. If you want to do that, maybe just to jog your memory throughout the panel, and we'll ask those towards the end. This panel will last about 30 to 40 minutes plus a Q&A, just for expectations. At the end, we'll do the Q&A for about 10, 15 minutes roughly. You can ask your question on audio, as we just mentioned a few minutes ago. You can raise your hand just like I did. Raise your hand buttons at the very bottom left-hand corner, and then you can ask through audio, or you can. We're going to pull the questions from text chat on the bottom right as well. So we're still getting Will in, so bear with us a couple minutes.
How'd you know?
Oh, I didn't even see Brandon. Okay. Okay.
You definitely am drinking coffee right now.
All right. So one thing I gotta add from last night, I haven't seen it done a lot, so now I think everyone's gonna try to do this. You can stack avatars on top of each other. I haven't seen anyone do that. They had a stack of 13 people on an event a couple weeks ago. Yeah, they stacked it 13 avatars high. So just throwing that little Easter egg out there. Now everyone's gonna be jumping on each other's head. So anyway, just thought I'd throw it out there. While we wait on Will, we're gonna see everybody try to stack on each other. But
Out of curiosity, did it stack properly, like on each other's shoulders, or were they just stacked like weirdly on each other's heads? Like
pretty symmetrically, from what I remember.
Okay,
I'd love to get a screenshot actually.
Nice.
It pretty symmetrically. It was kind of wobbly looking, but
Yeah.
It requires a lot of skill. I can't even get on one person.
I know. This is great. Don't push the live streamer. He's streaming to YouTube. Don't mess with the media. Yeah. No.
Oh, too funny.
Yeah, make sure to grab a drink as well. I tend to forget sometimes myself all throughout yesterday. So the bartenders left and right hand side, you can click them. You do not have to be close to them. They will throw you a drink instantly. So just left click on either bartender. And I'm going to switch mine up, actually. Make sure you do that. And then if you missed it already, back in the welcome zone, there's another NPC, another bot that'll give you a hat. That's where you get the hats, is in the welcome zone.
Yeah, we're still waiting on Will. He's having issues registering.
Okay.
So we'll see when he gets back.
Yep, no worries. We got a buffer after anyway, so we're good.
Hopefully we're all doing well with the time zones. I think.
Yeah, real quick, where are you guys coming from before we get started?
I'm midnight.
Australia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like 3 o'clock here, 3 p.m.
Okay.
I'm in Portugal.
Oh, cool.
It's 10 a.m. here. It's in Canada.
Okay. Yeah, I'm outside Louisville, Kentucky.
Nice.
Eastern. We're right on the Eastern Central line.
Hey, what's the NFT space like in Portugal? Is there meetups and events? Or no?
No. There's no meetups. There's really not that much NFT activity going on in Portugal, to be honest. But there has been a bit of interest, people moving to Portugal for crypto, though, because of there's a no capital gains tax on crypto.
Nice.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of crypto people, like in terms of the investment standpoint. Trading focused people are kind of moving here, and I think there's definitely a bigger influx of people to Portugal now during COVID, just because you can get like a pretty big place, we're a lot cheaper compared to other parts of Europe and the US for sure.
Yeah,
I
was talking to some consensus people. They just moved to Portugal.
Oh, really? To Lisbon or Porto?
Lisbon, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I'm in Porto right now, but yeah, Lisbon is really nice too. I spent a lot of time there. It's a little bit south. Yeah, they're both really nice cities.
You a footy fan then?
Not too much. Kind of.
Oh, really? Oh, I was going to say. With all that stuff going on around you, it'd be hard to not get in the mix.
Yeah. I was here during the World Cup like 2 years ago, was it? Yeah. That was pretty amazing to be part of, just like to be here during that event.
I bet.
But yeah, not too much. I mean, I am from California, so like I prefer American sports, I would say, to watch. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome being here. Like during the big tournaments, people get pretty into it.
Yeah, I wonder moving forward how that would look.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Real quick. So another housekeeping thing. This is important too. So top right-hand corner, you should see probably a letter, like a circle with a letter, like an avatar-looking picture in the top right-hand corner of your screen. If you hover over that, click user settings. Actually, this is a good time for all of us to do that, just to kind of touch base on this. Click user settings. You got your account, your avatar, and your profile. On your account, obviously you guys have got the username down. On the profile, if you want to go to there, click there. If you grab your LinkedIn URL to your profile, you can copy paste it into LinkedIn profile URL tab. And then when someone clicks your avatar, they can connect with you on LinkedIn on another browser, like a one click.
Yeah, welcome to LinkedIn, Manny.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
You seem to want to utilize it now. This is good.
Yeah, I know. I've had it there for like 8 years, but I've never used it. So now's the time.
Wow. Congrats. It's like formality, I guess. Have you been actually using it to like speak with people, Matty, or not really?
Not at all. So I was actually not really using much social platforms. I'm kind of come from the old using SEO and using blogs and stuff. And then my wife convinced me to get on Twitter, and it was like the best decision I made getting on Twitter. So I got on Twitter and I was like, holy shit, like social media is where it's at. So I jumped onto LinkedIn and I was like, oh, well, there's a buzzing social media thing going on here too. Because I thought LinkedIn was just for putting up your resume and then getting poached by employers. So because I haven't been employed for like 6-7 years now. But yeah, no, it's good. I've been checking out. It's got like a feed that's quite active, and I think it has a lot of people that might be interested in this sort of stuff.
There is a lot of solicitation, I must add.
A lot of what, sorry, Steve?
There's a lot of solicitation on there. Like I would say 9 out of 10 messages, or someone trying to sell you something that you don't need. The odd one is valuable, so you do have to, like kind of filter through it. It's worthwhile to at least take a look at all of them, but the majority of them aren't going to be any, interest to you.
Yeah, we'll give Miles a couple minutes, but yeah, Maddie, got to get you on a LinkedIn Live, man, because you can live stream on LinkedIn. Certain accounts have it, so my account has it. Would love to have you guys on there. We've done, with Silicon Nexus project, we've done 3 or 4 live streams on LinkedIn, so we push it to LinkedIn Live and YouTube. All I will say is this: LinkedIn is the most underpriced piece of social media out there for your business.
Nice.
If you know what you're doing with it, right? It's kind of one of those things. It's a feel thing. It's like you got to like on Twitter, you got to put in the time to get a feel. Same thing. It's the same exact thing. It's a different context, right? But LinkedIn is very powerful, and you'll connect with people that you never would have ever connected in your life, right? It's just a different language and different context than maybe a Twitter. So,
yeah, definitely. I think William's here. William.
Okay. Yeah, Will. I don't know if you can hear us.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey. All right. I can't see.
You got to get on the stage, Will.
Yeah, come on up on the stage. I don't see your avatar. Oh, there it is. Okay, gotcha. Here's Will.
He walked out from the shadows.
Very cool. Awesome. We're all here. Real quick, Will, I'll walk you through. Bottom left-hand corner, you got the microphone done. There's a globe icon that looks like a circle. If you click that, it'll start your camera. And then bottom right-hand corner, if you click the camera icon, that's a video tab, and then you can see everybody's video.
1 second, please.
No, sure.
You guys need to change your swag. Put my suit and tie on.
Yeah.
We all pick casual.
How do I change my audio settings?
I don't think you can, Will. I think it automatically picks up what you've got in. Unless you put a mic.
All right. 1 second.
Yeah, it auto picks it. Okay, cool. Well, we're all here. So really excited for this panel. Thank you guys for being here and taking the time to be with us. So real quick, we've got Steve Wand, the CMO of Game Credits, Miles Anthony, the CEO of Decentral Game, Will Gomez of MetaZone, and those that were here earlier, Maddie, DCL blogger, community creator in Decentraland. Thanks for being here, you guys. I'm going to step down, and Maddie's going to be moderating this panel, and been looking forward to this.
Yeah. Hey, guys, once again. For anyone that didn't hear the talk, my name is Maddie. I run DCL Blogger. I'm a community member at Decentraland. I've been involved for like 2 to 3 years, doing a bunch of stuff and getting involved with a lot of projects that are kind of supporting the Decentraland infrastructure. So, I'm going to be moderating this, but trying to let the others do most of the talking. I think the best place to start is because in the last hour, I basically touched upon pretty much all of your guys' projects. But it's a good idea to kind of go through what you guys are doing when your own individual projects. If there is a crossover with Decentraland or NFT space or whatever it is. So Miles, I talked about the Vegas being an opportunity and what's happening there. So it's a good idea for maybe you to start and let them know what's happening with Vegas and Decentraland.
Yeah, sure. So Vegas City is a district that we've built 2 out of 3 of our casinos in. And it's run by James Ashton, and essentially they're just trying to be the center of like casino style games. They have like the theater, and a few like nightclubs. So kind of like the Las Vegas kind of a vibe. And so yeah, we've been working closely with the district on building out the massive amount of land they have, because I mean they're sitting on like 7,000 parcels, I think, about. Which is a huge amount of the overall, land in the DCL.
Is there like a comparison we can give to that? Like, is it the size of something that?
It's like, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know for sure. I mean, it's everyone. Did you kind of go over with everyone that every parcel is like 16 by 16 meters, a virtual space? So I mean, I guess compared to the actual metaverse, like complete decentralized metaverse, that would be 90,000. So it's like 7 or 8% of the entire of all of Decentraland. So it's pretty sizable. I don't really know how to explain it in terms of like a real world.
Decentraland itself is about like half the size of Manhattan, I think, that you compare it with. And so Vegas City is like, 10%.
Crypto voxels, right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, like, I think Vegas is probably like 3 times bigger than Crypto voxels alone.
Well, how many parcels would this room be? Maybe that's another way of.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd say
4 by 4, 2 by 2.
Yeah, it'd be about 4, maybe 6.
Yeah, maybe 4 or 6. I agree.
Yeah.
There's like how many in the whole land? Thousands.
Decentraland is 300 by 300, so 90,000, about a little over.
So this would be about 6 parcels. So if you can imagine, Vegas alone is about 1,000 times the size of this. It's huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of space. Anyways, yeah, if anyone's like looking to build something, I mean, it's a good partnership to contact the Vegas district, just because they have so much land. But yeah, anyways, working with them has been a solid experience so far. We've built several games and deployed them. Right now, we're preparing to finally launch our games on the mainnet of Matic. It's been kind of delayed a bit, but they've been finalizing all of their auxiliary products that they're going to roll out to enable people to move their assets from Ethereum to the sidechain and inherit faster transaction times, less gas cost, etc. So I don't know if that's something that everyone is super interested in hearing about, but I'd say because this is NFT related, I think everyone here is kind of experiencing the gas fees, and it's making trading NFTs pretty awful experience.
Yeah.
So but yeah, that's essentially like the overview of what we've been kind of up to with Vegas. We've done a few different NFT sales to represent specific parts of some of our casinos, and then by owning that, we pay out a percentage of the profits from the games on that specific part of the casino to the NFT holder. So yeah, it's pretty much a basic overview.
Yeah, really interesting. It's an interesting business concept. I was explaining to them, like, you can own a part of the casino and then share the business revenue.
And Miles, I have a question for you about that, because I have a 10 ETH piece of land.
Yeah.
And is that something that's coming up that I would take advantage of, or is that in the works already that I'm just unaware of?
The profit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it'll start paying profit as soon as we go live, but obviously that's been delayed a bit because of Matic's kind of last minute additions to their rollout of their technology. But yeah, as soon as it goes live, the accrual of revenue from the games will be paid out to the token holders every month.
And is that when the 2-year rolling starts, or is it from this?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, that's when the 2-year rolling starts. Yeah, so it hasn't started at all yet. So to be fair,
about that.
yeah, that's when it starts. So it'll be interesting to see. We built like a web app that basically shows you on our site. If you log in with a MetaMask address that holds the specific NFT, then it'll show you how much volume has gone through in that specific parcel.
Nice.
So you'll be able to see like the volume and your profit from it. So yeah, it'll be an interesting model to just test out in the wild, so yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing the data, seeing how it plays out.
Because it was the first in Vegas kind of thing too?
What was that?
Did you guys choose the name Flamingos because it was the first in Vegas and you're kind of
that one, the Flamingos was I actually didn't build the Flamingos casino. I just supplied we supplied the games.
Okay.
But Vegas City was behind like the creation of Flamingos, the whole idea of the name and the brand. But yeah, I think they were inspired. I think they had some inspiration from the Flamingos Hotel in Vegas, or the Flamingo, but they had a bunch of art assets like to start out that they wanted to use for that. So I obviously I agreed. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Sweet.
Cool. I'm just streaming my computer. I don't know if you guys can see some of the pictures of Vegas and what it looks like, just to give you a visual overview. So you can, I'm not sure if you guys can see Miles and Steve, but is this basically people can own these areas, right? And then sharing the revenue of these games.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And you guys said, was it 7, 10, and 15 ETH or 7, 10, and 12 ETH? You had
7, 10, and 15 ETH. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, exactly.
So how does that work? Do you have to switch to the Matic chain in order to gamble, or do you have to?
No, so we tried to streamline it as much as we could in terms of user experience, because we found out like by developing on Matic, we've been building on Matic for over like a year and a half now, and yeah, I mean initially like you would have to switch over on your MetaMask to custom RPC and then add it as a custom RPC and be able to sign transactions, but we figured out a way to make it so the user never has to switch their network on their MetaMask wallet. So basically, like, we have two ways of onboarding on our site. Either users can deposit mana from their MetaMask wallet to the side chain, or they can just buy Matic mana directly with their debit card on Matic, and then go play games. And basically, we devised a way using this technology called Biconomy that essentially provides you with a proxy contract, so you can have your users sign things on the main chain, and then it would divert it to and bridge it over to the side chain and sign something on the side chain. For example, like our game authorization. So basically, when a user authorizes the game contract, they sign on the main chain on our site, and then they can go into the casino and play without signing at all. Because obviously, if they had to sign every single time they played one of the games, it would be really cumbersome. So we removed the signatures on MetaMask for the games, and they're pretty much right when they authorize the game contract, they can play for a few hours. I think right now we set it as 12 hours, and then after 12 hours, then they have to reauthorize. But once the 12 hours only starts once their address hasn't played any games anymore. So if they keep playing like every 10 hours, then they can play without authorizing again.
I log in with MetaMask. I sign basically kind of like control to Biconomy, and then I play, and it kind of batches all those transactions, and then kind of goes through. Like, do you have to pay for the transactions?
No. So the transactions are all free. So what we also wanted to do is make it so the user doesn't have to have Ethereum. So basically, the onboard flow is they either buy Matic mana or deposit mana to Matic, and then once they have mana on Matic, we pay gas for all of the transactions, and they pretty much it's the user experience of like a centralized gaming platform where they don't have to sign, during the gameplay. And they don't have to pay gas. It's all free.
Nice. We'll save the questions for a little bit after the talk so we can jump around to the others. Steve, did you want to talk about game credits and what they're doing?
Yes. And thanks for having me on, Maddie, and appreciate the rest of the panel as well. So game credits moved over to ERC on July 1st from a chain from 2014 when they were launched. And we are pretty much wanting to compete head-on with Engine in some aspects for their SDK and the marketplace, as well as kind of onboarding games very easily. We've also got the esports built in, the minting tool, as well as our champions. You can use our bracket as well for if a bunch of people want to put together their own esports and champions list. So we're trying to build the tools that are taking down the barriers for people getting into the space, because we realize there's going to be crypto savvy people coming in as well as just gamers who have just played centralized games all their life. So it is going to be a learning curve. We're just trying to make that as easy as possible for them. So right now we do have our rewards portal that's live. So we've got quite a few games in there right now. There's about 30, I believe, a list of about 30 right now, and we're kind of growing that to outside of the gaming sphere. So we're looking at artists, influencers, kind of people, athletes, anyone else who may want to kind of get their community over into the blockchain gaming space, and kind of expose them to crypto, so to speak, and at the same time be able to have the actual platform be gaining rewards as well as the users themselves. So we're trying to cross promote as many platforms as possible. Sandbox was just one of our recent signings, which is nice. That's kind of our lead into the metaverses. We'd like to get, of course, CryptoVoxes, Somnium, and DCL on board as well. We're talking to some artists as well now. I know you've kind of fallen down and kept rolling very quickly down the rabbit hole of crypto art, Maddie, recently. I know that there are people who are kind of diehards for different artists in the space already. That's only going to get larger as that space grows and kind of touches more people. So we do want some artists on there as well, influencers and kind of personalities in the metaverse space and the NFT space. Everyone's pretty aware of who's who in the crypto space if you've been here for some time, but the NFT space is kind of still figuring out who's going to be dominant in certain areas. You're doing a very good job of that, Maddie. I saw in a lot of those crypto spheres. You were literally you and perhaps a lot of money or whale were the two most common themes I saw on all of those, which is, I don't know, you should be very pleased and proud to be sitting in that spot. So good on you. But yeah, I know game is an old name in the space. We have the ticker game. So I think we've got that going for us as far as branding. And now we're going to prove ourselves with the tech that took about 2 years to build. So we've had pretty about eight weeks to do that. The rewards portal has proven itself very well so far. And then once we launch these new steps along the roadmap about every 8 to 12 weeks, if they go as well as rewards has, then we're going to be in a very good spot.
Nice. So I don't think the people, I don't know if you mentioned this, but basically you guys have acquired the whole game brand.
We did, yes. So Nova Token was the platform that ICO'd. I think they raised about 1.8 million in 2017, built it out for about 2 years, ran out of money. They had devs from Seattle. So at that time, Nova we had kind of come in and rejuvenated that platform, and for about a year built out the tech, and then Nova had the tech behind it that we needed. It was lacking branding, and we were aware of that. So Jason Cassidy, our CEO, made the major play and acquired game credits. So we got the social aspect of it as far as across their social media, which their Twitter holds about 30,000 followers, as well as on Facebook and a couple others. And then we also acquired some of their team members who help us with Discord and some of the Telegram chats that have always been there since kind of the 2015 era. And then we kind of, we let the story be known that there was new tech and new team involved. Game credits did have a huge spike in 2017, as did a lot of projects that maybe didn't have the tech built out but had a great idea at the time. So we just made the actual tech and everything else happen as well. So finally, game credits is truly what it should be.
Nice. There's a long story. I guess there's a deep story to that. I didn't see it. I never was part of the crypto space pre-2017, but I'm sure it has quite a lot of history. Let's jump to Will. Will, what's up, man? You run MetaZone. I quickly went through MetaZone and the concept of it and how it works, but
Sure.
love to get your take.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys for having me here. So we started this journey with the podcast, and it was me and and a friend of mine who started it, and we actually stumbled upon Decentraland about maybe like a couple of months in the podcast, and it was a quick understanding like what it was, but not until we interviewed Maddie, that's when we really understood what Decentraland was. And at the time there was no world. It was just a grid of 90,000 parcels, and the idea was that you get to own these lands. And so at the time it was sort of difficult to understand what Decentraland was, but after that interview with Maddie, he cleared it up. My brother listened to that interview and he was like, hey, he's been coding since he was 13. He was like, let's build something in Decentraland. So he built this game called The Block Runner, which is the same name as our podcast. And he understood that it's extremely difficult to deploy stuff in Decentraland. It's not easy for the general landowner to acquire stuff and deploy stuff, just because they have to get into the code a little bit and then just figure out how to manipulate content on their land using code and then deploy. So it wasn't straightforward. So he looked at it, he was like, well, I built some enterprise applications in the past. Why don't we just build one for Decentraland where it makes it easy for landowners to deploy content? So the first game that was on MetaZone was the Block Runner game. And it's a simple game where in Decentraland, since you're limited with space, we were very creative as to figuring out ways to help generate mana for the landowner. So we're like, well, what if we create a game where you just jump over these oncoming walls, and the more walls that you jump, the higher your score gets. And if we ask people to play this game for 10 mana, then we can split that revenue between the landowner and the creator. So we're like, okay, this makes sense for the landowner. So we deployed it, and sure enough, pretty soon after we put it on MetaZone, somebody bought it. And so this is a completely grassroots MVP style application at the time. And so he bought it, and he was like, well, what if you made these into NFTs and created some scarcity out of it? And so that's how the genesis of MetaZone kind of started. And so our platform is really about user-generated content being submitted into this marketplace. So anybody can make anything from buildings, plants, anything that you could imagine in this game world. Anything could be submitted into MetaZone. And landowners can go on MetaZone, go to the marketplace, purchase, and in a few clicks deploy to their land. And one of the things we've also created within MetaZone is an in-game remote. So this in-game remote is pretty cool. So you jump in the world and you're able to manipulate the content that you purchase from MetaZone with this remote, and you can move it in any direction, which is pretty unique for Decentraland, because the only other way you can manipulate content is either via code or using their builder, which has its advantages but also limitations. But so we built these tools for the landowners to create their world right within their parcel. And so we launched the same day as Decentraland, February 20th, 2020. So it's about 6 or 7 months old. And so far we've processed over 2.5 million mana, and 70% of that goes to the creators. So if you do the quick math, that's around $170,000 to the creators. And
reverse Apple fees.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, because the way that we look at it too is, even though these are NFTs and average NFT platforms, they charge like 2% or whatever it is, but these are more like applications, and they're more like apps that run on your land. Like for example, we've partnered up with Ethermon, and they're building this giant RPG game for Ethermon. It's like a digital pet game. So you purchase these Ethermon NFTs, and these are 3D pets in Decentraland that you take care of, and eventually they will evolve, and you will eventually be able to battle them against each other for experience points and gain levels, and eventually just create more battle mechanics, and just create this Ethermon world that they've always wanted to create. They just couldn't. And so these applications require a lot of maintenance. Decentraland is very good about updating the world. So every week there's an update, and every week everything sort of breaks, and so we got to fix it. And so that's why we really consider these as applications running on your land, because if there's no maintenance, those applications break, and then those NFTs are essentially useless. So our business model is exactly like an app store, like an Apple App Store or Google App Store. The creators get 70% and MetaZone gets 30%. And so far, there's no creators, talking about the fees or anything like that. I think they appreciate our effort in trying to build Decentraland in a unique way. One of the interesting things with Ethermon is they're creating this game world that is both interoperable with their existing online game, but it's also the same NFTs are playable in Decentraland. And so they're also building a way to encourage a player who owns an Ethermon NFT to go upgrade their Ethermon on their website, and it'll give them benefits in Decentraland. So if you think about the interoperability capabilities of specifically Ethermon, it's interesting how everyone has their unique approach. And another game that we've onboarded, or that we're going to onboard, is this Wonder Zone, where you have meteor strikes striking all over Decentraland. And so now these landowners can purchase this meteor strike meta, as we call them. So every content that's submitted to MetaZone is called a meta. So they buy these metas, this meteor strike meta, and now all of a sudden you have a meteor strike occurring on your land. And so the idea here is it's another RPG game where you go and find all the meteor strikes within Decentraland, you collect materials, and then you can craft wearables. And one of the more important things you'll find out about Decentraland is wearables is one of those coveted items in Decentraland. They're extremely valuable. So this team created this mechanism to figure out a way to mine these materials and craft a wearable. So we believe that the idea of putting work into these NFTs will increase the value of the NFTs. And like another first party game that we're coming out with is a game called Corona Zombies, where you'll have these NFT weapons, and you'll have this game world of these zombie drop zones where you're tasked to killing zombies, and with that functionality, we can upgrade weapons. These weapons could be merged with other weapons, and so there's this huge game aspect to Decentraland in development right now, which has been pretty interesting just to see how all these developers come up with unique concepts and be able to implement those unique concepts in Decentraland. So that's what we're working on right now, and we're looking for more developers really to get involved in Decentraland and make content.
Will, did you see the recent tweet from Decentraland with the shooting mechanics?
Yes, yeah. Are you talking about the portal gun?
Yeah, the portal thing.
Yeah,
and picking up the gun. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, so the new functionality. So like I said, Decentraland is very good about updating the world. Every single week there's updates. And so one of the updates that Maddie's talking about is a portal gun. If you guys play Portal, they made the ability to jump from one location to another just by essentially opening up a portal, which is a new functionality in Decentraland. So it gives us more tools for game devs to make newer games, right? And so that's really the best part about Decentraland is all the updates, continuous SDK updates.
Mm-hmm. I think I was going to ask a bunch of questions, but I think we all covered quite a lot in our own projects, and there's a lot of good content there. So I don't know, Chris, do you think it's a good idea to just open it up to the floor to ask the questions and then guide the next 20 minutes of discussion?
I think that'd be great. I think that'd be great for the questions.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to, you can raise your hand and ask the question by audio, or you can type it into text. I had a quick question. We asked this yesterday on another panel, and I wanted to get your all's take on this, and you can take it however y'all want it, whatever direction. But your all's take on traders versus investors versus collectors of NFTs, and what you all have seen kind of within your own ecosystem?
That's a good question. I'll say this. So what we've noticed is there's sort of been a 20 to 80% split. Like the 20% of us are really interested in like building out the game world and solving problems, and we're there even in a down market. But the 80% are really the speculators. They're the ones who fund the projects. They speculate. They buy those NFTs because they believe those NFTs are going to be worth more in the future. And so it is important to be able to provide to both sides, and because one side is really the funding mechanism and the other side is like the solving problems side of things. And so that's sort of what we're seeing, and it's just interesting. We're seeing it, at a bigger scale now with this little mini bull run that we're seeing at the moment.
Yeah. With collectors, I think you touched upon a good topic, Will, or a good answer in the sense that there is a skew towards people that want to buy and sell and kind of invest. Investing is like the language of crypto, right? The tech is cool, but people like me, and I guess a lot of broader people, found it because the moon opportunities were really cool. You could just put your money in something and it could go really high and you could cash out. So we see people interested in building things and have like grand visions to build like a club or something really awesome in Decentraland. But then when mana spikes or like something starts to shake up in the crypto world, we start to see some people sell their land. So it's a dynamic that's currently being tested, and people are still learning how the economy on a macro level works. But I think we have a healthy amount of creators in there to continue with what Decentraland has going for it.
As a whole, I would say you do have a lot of people in the space who truly believe in the tech and want things to change, whether it be from finance to just the way things are governed or how deeds are held. But there are people that we're all kind of aware of in the space who also come in, buy tons of ICO or pre-sales, pick what they want and then dump them on the markets. And some of those projects then have to take a hit, or some of those projects don't see the volume they should. So it comes with the territory, though. It's new. Regulation isn't here yet. Just like in crypto, it was the Wild West for 7-8 years, and then things started getting serious the more money came in. So I think as we see more and more of these vaults holding $1 million plus, items in them, as a whole, that's when things might change, or there might be some rules set out to perhaps weed out some of the bad acting going on. I don't welcome that anyway, but I also don't welcome people taking advantage and gaming the system, as we're trying to figure things out along the way.
I think it'll transition into something more sustainable in the sense that I know Axie Infinity, which is a game on the blockchain, and they've worked it out really well to balance the collectors and the speculators and the traders to the game players and the people that provide value to the project by, playing the actual game. So I think Decentraland as a platform, you're going to see right now, and I guess for the first 2 years, the only thing we could do is buy and sell land, build a few things here and there. But because the world wasn't open, we couldn't really explore the use case. But now as we explore the use case and people want to hold on to their land because they hold conferences or their HQ on their land and it becomes an integral part of their business, it's kind of that transition to, I guess, weeding out the speculators and getting in the people that are going to provide value on the long term.
Yes. Does DCL have anything in place that we know of right now that, because I know there was talk of if someone hadn't touched it in 2 years, then you'd get a payout, but it wasn't 100% of the land's cost, and then it would be resold.
There was some sort of suggestion of like a dead man's ping, I think they called it, dead land's ping, in the sense of like if a land has been inactive for like 5 years, then it goes back on the auction. But then a lot of people had to stink up about that because then you truly don't own what you have right in your wallet. So there's some sort of a balance to find, maybe that land goes to a land pool that creators can deploy to, and then it can always be claimed back if that wallet becomes active again. But there is definitely solutions, and then I guess that's where the DAO and the governance comes into play. I think, any other questions, Chris? Anyone else wanted to ask anything?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I did the blockchain tickets for this event, and one of my things in the roadmap is I want to try to get the tickets into Decentraland. Do you have any recommendations for kind of getting started with doing that? I think they have some pretty good documentation, but just curious from.
As in, did you say tickets to like enter certain venues so that unlock certain areas?
Yeah, exactly. So
I think Steve can tell you a bit about that with what you're doing with the Ross.
So we have a digital building. It's at minus 4364 in DCL. And we just released it last week. We just revised our building. It's about a year old. But we had in there initially, we had 5 different Ross Albrecht avatars on each floor. It's a 5-floor building. So if you held that particular Ross in your wallet, you were able to go, first you could walk in the front door if you held our digital token. And then if you held each individual Ross to the floor, the elevator would allow you to go to the next level. That was all done by Quell Code, which is kind of spearheaded by Renee from Chainbreakers and Collectors Hub. So to be honest with you, the technical ability and parameters set on the back end, I am not familiar with, to be honest. But Renee would definitely be someone, or Quell Code, quellcode.nz, I believe, is who you would want to reach out to for support on anything like that. And that's who we utilized.
So basically the avatars were NFTs, and with the NFTs in your wallet, it provided access to certain levels.
That's correct. Yes. If you went to say you went on the elevator and only held 2 of the Rosses and you wanted to go to the 3rd floor, it would say, no access denied. So the elevator wouldn't open and you couldn't get out of that level until you went and bought it. Now we sold the NFT at the level below it and kind of indicated you needed that for the next stage. So we were trying to guide people along the way. And we were just trying to usher, if you wanted to see the entire building, you'd have to buy all those NFTs. And if you wanted to get the top floor and see Ross Albrecht and have a martini with him at the top, you'd have to buy our physical Ross bar that was funded with that NFT under the hologram.
Nice. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to do is get to that place where you could get the ticket and then you can kind of get in. But I mean, right now the Ethereum prices for the gas fees is, I think it was $120. It got up to $120 to buy a ticket for this event.
We switched it from the Rosses to digital coins now. So there's 5 different colored coins, and you can get them. It's a lottery on which one you get, but they were technically free as long as you paid gas, which made sense until the last 6 weeks. And now it's technically they cost about $20 to get them, but really free. So
yeah, it was insane. Yeah, that's why I was thinking about switching to Matic, but then connecting the 2 wallets, and that's why I was curious about that. Now, I don't know if that's something that you could plug and play into, but or if that was a custom build. But that's why I actually started deploying the contracts on Matic myself for the tickets, but then at the same time had like reconciling. You're signing in with MetaMask on Ethereum to get into Decentraland, but then you got to switch RPC codes to connect with your Matic NFT in order to unlock, get to that kind of next floor thing. So that's kind of
settled properly.
I'm sorry.
Support Matic NFTs at some point. I don't know what the time frame is, but I think like the incentive to do so is pretty large right now because of the gas fees
growing rapidly daily.
Yeah, the gas fees are insane. Yeah, $120 in gas fees to buy a ticket is just way too much.
Crazy. It's calming down slightly, so we might see like a little decrease.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think they're pulling the activity out of the main chain slowly but surely. I've been seeing and hearing things happen. So
I think it's a tether off a little bit.
Yeah, and some of the DeFi coins. Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, crazy.
Mm-hmm. Can you give context real quick, and maybe because this would be maybe replay, someone listen to replay that it's the first time they heard of NFTs, things like that. Like, what's the addressable market for the NFTs? And Maddie, because I know I've seen one of your piece of your content, it had like different markets in the bubbles, and that was a really cool like representation of like the NFT market.
Oh, right. So you're talking about like I made like that infographic with the circles?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard to kind of evaluate or kind of put a market cap to NFT projects. With currencies, it's very easy because they're all the same price, right? With NFTs, it's a little bit different. But I just did a general overview using the non-fungible report. So nonfungible.com, I guess like the data providers in the NFT space. And they made a report saying that the whole NFT market cap was like a few $100 million. So that's including Decentraland, including all the art platforms, including all the virtual platforms out there, and CryptoKitties, and all the things that have blown up in the past. All of that combined was a few $100 million. Now you can plus or minus $100 million there for a buffer, but at the end of the day, that market cap is still very microscopic with our neighbors like Ethereum. I think it was like 1% of what Ethereum is, maybe even 0.5% of what Ethereum was, and it was like 1/1000th of the size of the broader crypto community. So the whole NFT space is very micro, but the challenge is understanding which projects are here to stay, understanding the deep dynamic of each marketplace and when to invest and how much to put your money in, because it's not like cryptocurrency where you kind of have that market price that you can buy and sell at. It's a market that each asset is worth what someone's willing to pay for it. So it's like the art industry a little bit, but it has a base level at some point, but you may buy something for 10,000 mana and then list it, and no one's buying it because the market kind of dries up a bit. So it has a challenge, and if you want to get into the NFT space, I do recommend kind of learning really deeply about the project before you put any money in. But yeah, market cap in terms of market cap and growth, I think the growth opportunity just in our own neighbors is tremendous, let alone the mainstream.
Yeah, because if you dig and you're looking for, right, you can find content around like the investment thesis around NFTs, and not just, you touched on it earlier, obviously, from traders and investors and everything, those dichotomies. But it's more than just, I have a cat in my digital wallet, right? I mean, it's much deeper than that because there's actual investment thesis. But as you're saying, I mean, it's like, I don't see it any different than anything else. It's diversity. I mean, it's diversification. You have to diversify around potentially different projects and things like that. I mean, any kind of portfolio. That's just the way my mind wraps around it. I think it's zero difference. In a sense, yeah. And then liquidity too, like you said.
Yeah, I agree. But in the sense, it's like if you want to invest in Decentraland, or say you want to invest in Ethereum, well, you only have one choice, which is to buy the Ethereum coin at a certain market price, which the whole market agrees to. But if you want to buy Decentraland land, well, suddenly you'll put up like all these different options. You can buy Decentraland land in the outskirts, in the center areas. There's prices that are like $1,000 all the way up to like $1 million. So you don't know when you're overpaying. So in that sense, the research required before you step in and click that buy button, I would personally advise to do a little bit more research than you would on just the general crypto.
Maturity. Yeah. Market maturity, for sure.
Yeah.
Any other question for the panelists? This is an awesome topic.
I was curious. I think that there was like different realms in Decentraland. It's been a couple of weeks since I've kind of got on there, but that was one of the things that I saw early on, where I'd log in, go to a particular coordinate, and then my buddy logs in. We both are sitting in the same coordinate, but we're in different realms, so we're actually not on the same kind of realm. Has that been updated? Do you know, or?
You can always change your realm by changing the two words in the URL.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fun for as a scaling band-aid right now, is it not? So because we were all in Defender Amber, for say the World Cup, if 130 in there, it would have, no one would have been technically moving. I would think.
Yeah, it'd probably be crashing or something.
And again, you can switch them, because if you've gone into an event that is pretty busy, if you go to Fenrir Amber or Fenrir Pink or whatever, if you go to another one, typically there's not as many people there. You're right, but the scene loads faster, and it's just that much better of an experience.
Because I was curious, like, say you have an event like this where you have a big screen playing a live speaker, but in the other realm that's not going on, or maybe that's parallel. I mean, it is going on.
Yeah, the video and the content is parallel in the sense that you'll see the same screen.
Mm-hmm.
But is that my thing that's making that noise? Okay. So yeah, if you see the link and it says, we got all these different words to represent the realms, but sometimes it'll say something like Artemis Blue at the end of the URL. So if you tell your buddy to jump in that same realm, then you'll see him in there. And I think at the moment each has a capacity of like 100 people, but it's definitely a soft cap that they'll continually increase as the platform gets more stable.
Yeah, and as a developer, you can actually kind of modify how many avatars can be on your parcel. Like for example, we're using this pretty well-known tech, but pretty new for Decentraland called WebSockets. And if you use WebSockets for, let's say, your creation that you deploy on your parcel, anybody that stands on your parcel, regardless on the realm, will show up in every realm. And so we had a fashion event showcasing community wearables just a few weeks ago, and there was hundreds of people at this fashion event, and all of them were on different realms. But there was only a few avatars showcasing these new wearables, and those few avatars on this particular parcel were on every single realm. And so the capability is there. You just have to implement it, and it's not inherently built into Decentraland for various reasons. But if you create a game where you kind of need everybody to be at the same spot, regardless of the realm, you could do it.
Cool.
I know too. We are working with DCL. They're helping us. So our newest release last week, we have art covering the entire building, but there's stills, and they're supposed to be the animated art that they truly are. So now when we activate that, it takes forever to load, but also everything inside is loading. So the newest ability is you can turn off everything that user isn't looking at that time. So it's only active while that person's engaging with that portion of the building. So nothing else running, which is a huge saving.
Wow, it's really cool.
The more of this implemented, the better things will be.
Nice.
I have a question. Are there any realms that still have affordable land, or has land gotten very, very expensive?
Yeah, the realms all hold the same land. So the land is kind of like a universal thing where you can enter that land in any realm. But the cheapest land, I think at the moment is like 8,000, 9,000 mana, which is like 700, 800 USD. It has become expensive, and it is a bit of a problem because obviously creators want to jump in, but then that's just what the market, the whole world kind of went really crazy with land, and you have speculators and creators kind of grab up land, and that's what it's become. So it depends on what you want to do. Like if you want to deploy things and test out some stuff, I'm sure you can find some land that someone's willing to kind of let you deploy on for free for a little bit. I'm sure some districts as well. You can probably open to get some creators to jump in and build some stuff. But in terms of purchasing land, yeah, the cheapest one is 8 to 10,000 mana.
Yeah, and just it wasn't too long ago where the speculation was that the more expensive land would be closest to the center, the Genesis Plaza of Decentraland. But what we're seeing now is the more expensive land is where developers are actually creating stuff. And so the closer you get to like where the action is, the more expensive the land is. So and
Vegas, New York, it's anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. And the other speculation was that if you're close to a road parcel, like where there's a street, that would be more valuable. But since you can teleport there, it didn't really pan out that way. So if you're really looking to invest, I would look into parcels where there's a lot of action, where there's a lot of events, a lot of creators building stuff, on a weekly basis. You'll find probably the most value there, but obviously it's going to be more expensive.
I'll just tell you, I'm looking at Crypto Valley.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking at Crypto Valley.
It's
getting all the good stuff.
I know, right? So I think, a lot of the people that haven't jumped in yet are potentially looking there. So I know I am just kind of prodding around.
All right. Yeah. Crypto Valley is an interesting one. And to Will's point, we used to just speculate off, all right, center will be expensive. All right, the roads will be expensive, the road connections. But what we are seeing definitely is like where content is being deployed, that's where others want to be, right? Like OpenSea set up shop, people want to be near them. people headquartered in Crypto Valley, and we run conferences, and there's like 5 or 6 different companies setting up in Crypto Valley. People want land around that, and that's also increasing a little bit. Interesting. For me, it's very interesting to see a virtual land economy develop a similar way to the real world.
Do you see any other zones? Sorry, do you see any other zones that are like pretty growing?
Yeah, so Voltaire is like a district on the top right. It's connected to a huge district called Etheria, and Voltaire district is a place which all the art galleries kind of HQ'd there. So Super Rare, Maker's Place, etc., and they're going to continue holding events like meetups for the art people. So I don't know if you have galleries and you want to get involved in that sense, like that seems to be the place to be around. There's obviously Vegas, which Miles is working with. We have Barry Silbert on the southwest, I think somewhere. You'll see 4 big blocks of land, which he'll slowly build out. So that, any land connected to that, people are trying to pick up. Yeah.
Miles, did you mention that you guys are working on poker, or was that DCL itself?
Yeah, we're working on poker. Right.
Okay.
We just finished blackjack, so we have blackjack, roulette, and slots live in our casinos, and then we made a backgammon game as well. That was it's 2-player. But yeah, poker is in development. I think we should probably have like a MVP by November, I would say. So yeah, it's our next release.
And that's deployed in DCL.
Yeah, well, the poker is still in development. So the only things that are deployed in DCL are the blackjack, roulette, and slots and backgammon. So yeah, you can check it out in our recent casino. You can play blackjack with up to 4 people at the table, and then roulette is up to I think 8 people, and then slots is single player, obviously, and backgammon is 2-player. So. But yeah, we found though that we really are trying to focus on like the multiplayer experiences. So, I've played hours of blackjack, testing the games, and as I build it out and code everything. But I feel like playing with 4 people at the table is a totally different experience than playing with like just by yourself. Mm-hmm. So we're really trying to focus on those types of experiences, and we think poker is going to be awesome for that. We're planning to do 6-player poker.
I was going to ask 6-handed, 9-handed, heads up. I didn't know what different tables. I mean, is it similar to, okay. We're
going to do like a multi-table tournament style, like with the buy-in, and then 6 people per table initially. And then we'll develop cash games. But the cash games are a little bit harder for poker because to build like a poker game like on the blockchain is like a little difficult. You have to like hide the values of the cards from the players. Obviously blockchain is public, so we have to figure out a way of doing that correctly, and so we've been working on that. But for the general like front end client in the server, multiplayer server using WebSockets, like Will said, it's pretty straightforward now. Like right when we started making roulette, it took us like quite a while to figure out how to like build something like that with multiplayer interactions and synchronization between clients. But now, we pumped out blackjack within like 2 to 3 months. And now I think poker we could do like in 2 months, 2-3 months too, just because a lot of the same stuff, it kind of applies to a lot of these different games. So
gotcha. So starting with MTTs, 6 max, and then working to potentially, down the road, cash games potentially.
Definitely cash games. But we have to figure out how much of the logic we'd be able to put on the blockchain compared to off chain. But yeah, I mean, we're going to do cash games, but initially we'll just do tournaments with a buy-in, and then prizes for the winners, obviously.
Yeah, I've seen some. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna make a comment on decentralization versus centralization and how you're making your games, on the blockchain. The real question is how much, as a creator, do we need to decentralize things before it gets a little, beyond the scope of like necessity? And because that's one of the things like we toy with a lot on MetaZone is like we're sort of taking advantage of a lot of off-chain transactions because of all the gas fees. But we're always like trying to figure out, what makes sense to decentralize and make into smart contracts and what doesn't make sense. Do you ever think about that, Miles?
Yeah, of course. I think about it every day. So, but yeah, I think for us, our goal eventually, the whole point of decentralization, in my opinion, is making it autonomous and censorship resistant. And I think, the more you're able to do that, then, the more trust people will have in investing in your project, like from the crypto community, and just the higher chance you have of sticking around. But obviously, there's a trade-off. So I think, making things centralized is much easier and quicker to get things to market. So yeah, we're trying to balance that, obviously, because there is centralization in our games, because we have to run a server, the multiplayer server, to pair clients and send transactions to the blockchain, including all the different inputs from all the different bets from everyone at the table. But our goal, we do want to keep our game logic on the blockchain, and we do want to keep our custody of funds on the blockchain as well, or like decentralized, not custodial like centralized gaming platforms. And so yeah, those are the kind of our two pillars that we kind of built our company upon, and it'd be hard for us to compromise that. But there's definitely been times where I've been tempted, just because it would make things a lot easier. But yeah, I mean,
game logic. Yeah, game logic makes sense because with gambling, if you're not transparent, then it's hard to get that trust. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously, and then if you have game logic on the chain on the blockchain, then custody should be decentralized as well.
Absolutely.
So, and that none of that would be possible if it wasn't for Matic, though, too. So we're really glad that we were able to work well with them, and we're excited for them to finally roll out everything on mainnet. It's been delayed quite a bit, but these DeFi farming protocols are just making the Ethereum chain way too congested. So I think everyone that's building applications that require a virtual machine and like general computation, like Ethereum contracts, rather than just like simple payments or those types of simple applications. Yeah, then they definitely need to be considering a Matic. But it's gonna be tough though, because the thing with Ethereum, I think, is the thing that is making everything hard to move over to a sidechain is the network effect of being interoperable. So like all these different DeFi protocols and NFTs and different platforms are all interoperable. And so I feel like it's going to be hard for things to move over to the sidechain. But I think it'll happen slowly, but I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're sort of in a good spot, but a tough spot when selecting technologies to deploy on our projects, because maybe a year or two from now, when things shake out, maybe it isn't Matic that wins, or maybe there's another platform or a sidechain that is more interoperable or easier to use or faster, better, cheaper. And so we're always like making gambles as to what's going to work and what's going to be there for the long term. So it's, none of us are in an easy spot.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, obviously I'm biased, but I think for me, I think the reason why we really like Matic, and I think, Matic has good potential for being the side chain that garners a lot of traction with getting NFTs and ERC-20s and everything moving over and DEXs and stuff, is the fact that they mirror the developer experience from Ethereum. So deploying a contract on Matic is really simple, and it's pretty much the same that is deploying on Ethereum. And a lot of these other side chains aren't that way. So I think making it as easy as possible for developers to move over when they want to the side chain is really important, I think, and actually being able to garner some traction. So I think that's what they have going for them, and that's the reason why we chose them. But obviously, it's time will tell, I guess. But that's the reason why we like them.
and technologies like I don't know if you guys have looked into Polkadot, but Gavin Wood, one of the co-founders of Ethereum, is making this blockchain called Polkadot, and it's designed to connect all the blockchains together, like Cosmos and other, and that type of project. But what they have is gaining a lot of traction, and so I mean we're starting to look into Polkadot's substrate, which is their kind of like standardization, so that it's easier to flip Bitcoin into Ethereum and making it easier for the average user to even onboard onto these games with any cryptocurrency that they have. And it's those are the things that we're thinking about it right now, just to improve our offering and make it easier. But it's definitely not easy in terms of like picking a path and like putting a stake in the ground on a particular technology.
When you say that you're looking into it, are you looking into it from a Decentraland kind of point of view, or?
Yes, absolutely. So we're looking into it in the sense of, because it's interesting in Decentraland, you can implement anything that you want, Matic, XDAI, any sidechain. It's really, if you create like a content that has a lot of traction in Decentraland, it is only up to you as a developer to decide what technologies to use. Decentraland, they'll give you like documentations on suggestions on what to use and how to use it, but it's totally up to the developers to decide what text to use. And so when we're looking at things, we're more looking at it in the sense of the longevity and the application and the traction these other projects are getting. For example, like sidechains. And just because we can't fully know what the implications are going down one path versus another. So it's always going to be a gamble, but we just try to be as calculated as we can when selecting the technology.
Cool.
All right, we're coming up on the end for the panel. I just want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank Steve, Miles, Will, Maddie. Thank you guys for jumping on and doing this. This has been really informative. This is going to be replayed, highlight clips, podcasts, everything else to redistribute so people can kind of go back and digest this. This is really good. I know I will.
No, absolutely. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Real quick, drop whatever you'd like to drop about yourself or how to get connected with you. We'll start with Maddie.
Yeah, you can jump onto, I think Twitter is the best way to reach me, DCL Blogger, which is my Twitter handle. If you want to get in touch, just message me there and we can have a conversation.
Well,
you can reach me on Twitter as well at MetaZone.io, and just reach out and we'll keep in touch.
Miles?
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter, at Decentral Games, and then our site is decentral.games if you want to play at any of our casinos with test tokens. And
Steve?
Nice. So we are at gamecredits.org. You can find us at Game Credits on Twitter as well, and then I am at CryptoSteveBlonde.
And I posted those in chat as well in the environment, so make sure to go through that. But we put in quite a bit of information there, so make sure to connect. Also, you can find them on the attendee list, whether if their LinkedIn is connected. And subscribe to all the channels and follow and everything else. So thank you guys for being here. I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Yeah. Feel free to come around, network, and this environment will be open until 11 tonight Eastern. So,
all right. Enjoy,
guys. Hey, DCL Blogger, Maddie.
Howdy.
Hey.
Hey, man.
You want to go? I just want to go into a booth over here, so I'm not bugging everyone.
Sorry, man. I'm new. I'm trying to figure out where you're going.
Yeah, quick reminder to check out the different wings. So different wing blocks on both sides. There's blockchain game partner booths with their MP4 videos. If you haven't checked those out, take a few minutes to do that. There's 2 wing blocks in this area. There's 2 wing blocks in the welcome zone. So 4 total. If you've missed one, check it out. Also, check out the patio. Maybe we just all need to go over there and check out the patio. I think a lot of people may have missed that. It's in the welcome zone. When you drop in, it's behind you. So maybe explore a little bit. Check out some other zones. We will have a keynote at 12 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be Rick Tumlinson of Space Fund at 12 p.m. Eastern. We'll put out an alert here in just a minute.